Flo talk much more.
Mm.
Oh, Lork is here. Lork, you here?
Yeah, I got distracted watching YouTube videos of someone digging a bunker underneath their house.
All right. So we'll start. We'll see how we can get the group together. I already asked, Lork, do you have any questions before we start?
No, I don't. Don't think so.
And our drag your token on. I didn't find a picture for you, so you got the common picture at the moment.
Old generic.
Yeah, right next to you. It is spring. Later spring. The forest is bolting, but it's dark in Davokar. And Lascar, you find yourself south of your people for reasons of your own making. And you have come on a trail of a bloody trail going through the forest. As a hunter, your clan's ethos and religion, or the way they believe the world, part of them is to clear their land, waiting for Eric's return from the Yonder world, waiting for their god's return to Symbaroum, to the lands, and to clear their lands of abominations and beast in preparation for Arax's returns. That's part of what your clan, the Bayagas, beliefs are. And as a hunter, I'd expect that you followed those beliefs, or that's part of your goal.
I do definitely. I'm a fervent traditionalist Bayaga. I think that new generations looking to change the old laws are wrong, and I'm definitely in favor of violence.
Right. So you find this track that's obviously a big beast or abomination. Something inside you makes you follow it. It's obviously dangerous to barbarians, even though these aren't your lands this far south, close to Carvasi. And you follow it through the forest, and you come to the edge as the forest breaks up a little bit into a small glade, and you're standing on the edge of this glade, maybe 3-4 meters inside the forest, having followed this blood trail, this track that's maybe 2-3 meters wide, broken trees and branches, obviously a beast of some size. And I'd like you to either make a bushcraft or cunning roll. I think it would be bushcraft.
Yeah, I can roll a cunning with bushcraft.
First roll of the game.
Right.
Let's go.
So you're standing there on this edge. You're kind of in the shadows of Davokar. Out in front of you is this glade, 3-4 meters in front, and you've stopped because the glade is high grass, bolted grass from spring. The grass is maybe 4 or 5 meters tall. You know, if you walked out into it, that it would maybe your head would show above the grass. And the track goes out in the grass, and you see it going out into the grass, creating this wide swath, and then kind of turning where it kind of goes around the bend. And you're there on the edge, and you look kind of left and right, and you realize that over to the left a little bit, you see blood on the trees and the leaves, and another trail or path, as if there's something that is on the other side. There's unbroken ground between the trail you're following and that trail. What do you do, Lascar?
Okay, so in my head, I think that someone else is tracking the same prey as I am. I'm going to change. I'm going to follow the other trail.
So you're going to go left then.
Mhm.
Okay.
How wide is the glade?
The glade is probably
My position? Can I estimate that?
Yep, you can kind of see across the glade. It's it's from one side to another, it's maybe 35 meters. It's kind of oblong. You can't get a full sight of it, but it's not round. It's kind of oblong, and you're kind of at the middle axis, so you can kind of see across it a little bit where trees and ambria starts, and that's about 30 meters if you were 35 meters if you're standing edge to edge. But it's kind of an oblong glade, and it's maybe 60 meters or so.
Can I do I think that I could get a better vantage point from a tree high up?
It's possible. The ground slightly rises. In the distance in the glade, Karvasti rises. You can see the plateau up above the trees. This island, Karvasti, that as a barbarian is a sanctuary to barbarian people. It's, a safe haven amid the darkness of Davokar, where Davokar and the trees crash upon it like it's a cliff, and Davokar's a giant angry ocean. It's in the distance though, and you realize it's there, but your eyes are kind of down following this trail as a hunter, knowing that your attention can't be taken too far off.
I'll definitely try to get a better sense of my surroundings and climb the highest tree nearby.
Okay. That should be relatively easy for you. Varama, you have come across this trail, same as Lascar has. You probably even maybe see the shadow of Lascar ahead of you. You're this far south for your own reasons, and you're injured. Something has happened to you along the way. I want you to roll a d10, and you have two choices. The d10 can be how many strength you have left or how many strength you've lost.
Okay. I call it before I roll it?
Yeah, you call it before you roll it, buddy.
Nice try.
Just checking,
Is it how much you have left or how much you've lost?
How much I have left.
All right, roll a d10.
Actually, you want to roll low in this game, right? So it's how much I've lost. How much I've lost.
We can do it either way. I mean,
it's going to subtract. So if you roll the dice and you say it's how much I have, that's how much strength you have presently. If you say it's how much I've lost, that's how much you subtract from your present strength and what you're at. Understood?
Yeah, I'll go with how much I've lost because we generally want to roll low in this, right?
All right.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me.
Oh,
but I'll take that.
No, you got to roll your own.
Let me see here. Roll it.
Oh.
Shit!
You can't lose that much. So what we're saying is you've lost 8, and so you're presently at 2 strength. Do you want to tell me what happened to you, or do you want to tell me what happened to Varama?
I was collecting some. I got a little distracted. I was collecting some seeds and pines, and I saw a beehive. It would be a good opportunity to also perhaps collect some honey, make some mead. And apparently, I didn't see the bear. I don't know what the Carvosi or what the Davokar bears are like in this setting, but there was some kind of a bear
vicious
that had the same idea as I did. He wanted some of that honey, and it was a mother cub in the spring, and he charged me. I didn't even see it coming, and I barely got away.
Right. So you're dragging one of your legs. You can't really keep up with this figure in front of you. You know it's Barbarian, but he kind of disappears along this trail, and you follow him. You're deep in Davokar, all on your own. You know Carvosti's in the same direction, and you come to nearly the same spot that Lascar was when he departed a trail a little bit and started climbing up a tree. And you look out and see the glade and the path. Lascar, you're up climbing up the tree. You're probably halfway up when an obvious barbarian woman comes straggling up to the edge of the glade. Do you say anything or do you stay quiet?
I stay quiet.
Okay. Varama, you're on the edge of the glade. You look out into the glade, and the trail that you're following, this big bloody trail, goes forward into the glade and kind of makes a turn in this high grass. The grass is a little bit taller than you because you're not quite as tall as Lascar. And you see the grass moving in the distance, probably from the barbarian you were trailing. What do you do as you enter the glade?
I think Varama would be be hurt too much to really be giving too much thought to any sort of sneaky kind of. I think she's starting to feel a little desperate that she's in a really poor way. So she's just gonna kind of I think that this person's kind of walked down the path, so I'm gonna just try to go down that path and see if I can catch up with this person and maybe ask for their help.
So you walk through this
Kind of
trail.
limp.
Yeah, limping, dragging your leg, looking kind of poorly, bedraggled, maybe bloody, and you go through the tall grass around the corner, and the path suddenly stops. Lascar, you're up the tree as Varama kind of heads out into the glade, and she doesn't notice you, or the woman doesn't notice you, the female barbarian. You can't really tell her clan, or but as a hunter, you know she's obviously injured. But you watch her go out into the glade and make a turn. Now she disappears a little bit as you, I assume, continue climbing up the tree.
Yeah, I hope for with my beast lore somehow to with that better vantage point when I get there. I hope to get a better idea of what I was after so far.
Okay.
And yeah, I'll still keep quiet for now.
Okay. So you get to the top of the tree, and I'm going to have you make a vigilant roll at just a second. I have you make a straight vigilant roll. Yeah, that's a pretty good margin of success there, Lascar. You see it, really, as you get to the top of the tree. You see how the track goes through and turns and deads end. You see Varama come up to the end all of a sudden, where the path ends almost in the middle of the glade, and you see the tall grass move. Just ahead of Varama is its tail, and it's wrapped around the side and down the path to the right. You've seen forest worms before. You're positive that this is a juvenile, but still, it's
A juvenile witch? The juvenile what?
Juvenile forest worm. Like a
Forest
giant
worm.
snake, right? Varama has come up to the edge of the path out in the middle. You're up in top of the tree. You see the forest room in Varama. And there's a saying that barbarians have, hunters. Do you know what that saying is?
What's the catch?
In the morning, you're the hunter. In the afternoon, you're the hunted. And you see this forest worm rise up on Varama's right side. What do you do?
The worm is far away from her. Can you reach her at once? And
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
It's laid in wait. Probably would have laid in wait for you if you travel down to the end of that path and dead end in the middle of the glade.
So
It's
I
got
just want to make sure
arrows.
it's arming itself to spring at her. Yes.
Yeah, Varama's probably looking at the glade. You can just see her head because, and maybe the torso because you're up so high, even though the grass is taller than Varama. The forest worm rises up to her right as Varama's looking into it. It's got arrows studded along its back, and one of its horns are broken off, and maybe, fresh blood on one side. It's been injured.
Okay.
What do you do while you're up there in the tree?
I'll swing my bolas, aiming at the worm, while singing some kind of warning song, Bayaga song. Something like just a song in my tongue that says, "Behind you, dummy," and fly the bolas.
All right.
Fly the bolas at the worm, of course.
I'm going to put you on the map, or a map. And Varama, I want you to make a vigilant test.
Oh, we're just starting this off all the right things, Gene.
Yeah. Varama is probably just too bloody, too broken, too weak, too exhausted as she comes to the edge of this obvious trap by the forest worm. And both Lascar and the forest worm get to have ambush. The forest worm does not know where. Oops. There
Hmm.
What's that? Initiative cards? I thought initiative.
Yeah, it didn't do initiative right, did it? Let me just switch it really quick.
I'm quick 7. Quick 7. Attends, wait a sec.
So your
Tactician.
initiative is
Cunning. Yeah, it's 15.
15. Okay, you're 15. So you would be first. And it would be second. Right, because it's quick as 10. And so I probably moved things around until I didn't realize it would I didn't realize it would, for some reason it's doing that initiative type. Okay, Lascar, you are up in the tree with your bolas, and obviously the forest worm, you have an ambush attack as you're up in that tree, and so you could roll it before the forest worm rolls its attack on Varama.
All right. Did that come with an advantage, so?
You are high, but you're holding on to the tree. I guess height does give you an advantage, typically.
Right. Okay. Take that. All right. I sing my little song. Behind you, dummy, in Bayaga. I don't know how it sounds. Possibly half barking and whistling.
Like you're
and
throwing your
and fly. Here comes the bolas.
yeah.
Oh no! Fuck! Oh, crit! A fucking fumble.
Yeah, Varama's got her head down, and all of a sudden she hears this. Just goes right over, looks up, and she sees this giant forest worm above her just as it attacks.
Oh,
Shit!
well, I can make a new character, and before the campaign gets underway.
Didn't have an idea for a backup character.
No.
Yeah, lucky you. The forest worm gets distracted perhaps by the bolus that flies over its head. It's, like a whirling sound, and it's completely not expecting it. And so it lunges at you, and its head dives into the ground itself, probably throws you off a little bit off balance and misses you completely. I am going to put Varama in combat. What's Varama's initiative? Quick, yeah, 11.
13.
Okay.
13. Quickest 13.
Oh, that's right. All right. So we're starting the first round of combat. Lascar, you're up in the tree. You see your bola go off. The great forest worm tries to attack the barbarian woman, and at least you offset it a little bit, and its head hits the ground next to her, throwing up grass and dirt. Varama kind of stumbles back. What does Lascar do as he's up in this tree?
How many movement actions to get in melee range?
You would have to have probably climb down. And so I would give you that one. And I think you would have to take your second action to get within melee range. So it'd probably take both your actions down the tree, rush into the glade.
Okay. Then I'll throw my throwing axe now and get down the tree. Right.
Okay.
This turn. Yeah, I think I'll do that, and the next turn run and engage.
Okay. So I would imagine you would throw your axe first.
Yeah. Still at an advantage?
I'd give it to you because you're high.
Let's go. Yeah, I've targeted my baby. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, you throw your axe end over end. It's a good throw, Lascar. It really is. But you just see it hit the giant forest worm and bounce off of it. Poof, go scuttling into the grass and bury itself somewhere. If you survive this, you're going to have to search around for it, but it should be easy to find. And
as I do that, I run onto one of the thinner bows, and it kind of bends, and I let myself drop to the next one, and branch by branch, I jump and reach the ground.
Yeah, you reach the ground right where you had left the path, right? The same path that Varama had taken. And you see a boot there that you had missed, kind of upside down in the ground. There's a little bit of blood on it. The laces are torn. And you notice it as you start to run. Just one boot. Just one.
What make?
Looks like a common, boot a hunter or a fighter would wear. It's not soft shoed. You look at it, and it definitely isn't a barbarian make.
Okay, keep going.
Varama, you see Lascar's. You see this throwing axe come out of nowhere above you, hits the great worm and kind of bounces off and goes into the tall grass. The forest worm raises up again and looks right down at you. It's probably 3-4 meters up above you. Its head and one broken horn and its giant fangs. And you're standing right in front of it. What do you do?
I'm gonna try to Get out of there. Get the fuck out. GTFO. I've got my, at this point I should point out that I've got a magpie that's flying around overhead. So it starts squawking and making a ruckus, and I finally realize with the danger that I'm in, and Varama just tries to get the hell out of there, tries to back up
Okay.
while the magpie is just circling up ahead, squawking.
So you
know,
want
that sound it
to disengage,
Yes.
right? And I believe that is get my system right. I believe that is a quick roll to disengage
Oh,
to prevent.
you used to have the combat sheet up there. Now it's not
Yeah,
there.
I'll put it up so that it doesn't.
It's not a straight free attack.
Is it? When she disengaged, they get a free attack. Bypass enemy gets a free attack. Forbidden Lands lets you do a mobility roll. So.
Oh, there's nothing.
Right. So you're going to disengage, and it's going to get a free attack as you disengage to run. Is that okay?
And its attack is based on my quickness, right? So, I mean, okay. So hold on a second. So I've seen this the bolus went flying overhead, and I see this other fellow, another barbarian, come. He's climbing down the windows or down the windows, climbing down the branches, and he started running towards me, towards
I
the
think you
combat.
could see him drop to the ground, but the grass is too tall to. I guess his intent is probably clear. You probably cannot see him around the corner of the track, but it's obvious that he's tried to attack the giant forest worm and has yelled out and is coming to your aid in some degree.
Okay,
You
I'll pull
see
out
him
my.
drop to the ground, and then you kind of lose where he is, but it makes sense where he is for you.
I'll pull out the. I'll pull out my quarterstaff and prepare to fight this thing. Now, there's no defensive fighting or anything like that in this, is there? I can't remember. Just
You can forfeit your attack and have your defense favored.
okay, that's what I will do. If I can, I will do that.
Okay.
Is this all in the regular book or the advanced players?
That's the advanced. The special attacks
Advanced.
and stuff.
Okay.
So you're going to defend.
Yeah, I'm going to defend. Does my magpie get to do anything, Gene? Does it act as an independent? I think it does. But I was just going to say that the magpie just kind of flies down, and it sort of like starts circling and kind of dive bombing the serpent, kind of to distract him.
Right, a distracting technique.
Yeah.
I'd give that to you if you tell your magpie to try to distract it, and you go on full defense for.
I think it would just know. I think it would just know. He would know we have a bond, mystical energies, so it can see. It knows what's happening.
Okay. And you prepare for the attack that's coming.
Yeah.
All right. Lazarus, do you open your eyes and the sky is blue above you? You have this terrible headache, and it takes you a minute to figure out where you are and how you got there. You're missing a boot. You look up and you're laying in tall grass. Next to you is the long serpent body of the great forest serpent, and then it comes back to you. You were in Davokar, your first outing, trying to make some coin, trying to find a lucrative business when your group was attacked or came upon this giant forest worm. The forest worm killed everyone in your party, all 7 of them, wrapped you up in his coils and moved. Your party did as best as they could. Arrows, swords. You got in a few good hits. You're laying prone. You see the back of the great forest worm above you. You maybe see it preparing to strike something in the tall grass away from you. Its attention is off you, and suddenly you can breathe again. You feel like 10 trolls took a club and beat you. And I'd have you roll a d10 and tell me if that's how many strength you have left or how many strength you suffered.
Welcome to the party.
You still there, Joe?
I'm sorry.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah. Sorry about that. So I'm picking either how much I've left or how much I've taken.
Correct. And you just roll a d10.
Okay. How much I've taken?
Okay. Right. So your present toughness is at
Need to fix
10.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can just write 10 in. It has it at 0, probably just because of new character creation.
Yeah. Got it.
Okay. You're prone on the ground next to it. Its coils have kind of loosened up with you. Maybe there's one across your legs, but its attention is completely not on you anymore. Your weapons are with you. One's maybe next to you because you held it in your hand, and another, it's still strapped to you. You're missing a boot. But the forest worm is not paying attention to you, and you have essentially an ambush action before entering combat. What would you like to do? I would give that you could stand free as a free action at the moment, just because of where you are.
Yeah. Is there a penalty for me to stay down if I'm within reach of it to attack it?
I think if you try to strike it from the ground, you would have a minor penalty. What weapon are you using?
Yeah, I would stand and
Okay.
retrieve the other weapon because I typically will fight 2 weapons. So.
Okay. I think you can make one attack as a kind of ambush surprise action.
And then I have to target, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you could just put. Yeah, you could put T.
I
Yeah,
got
there
it.
you go.
I got it.
Yeah, you strike at it, and it's moving, perhaps getting prepared to attack Varama, and your what did you use? Crow's beak?
Yes.
What does that look like? It's a hammer?
That's maybe I used the wrong weapon. It's supposed to be a sword. I think it's supposed to be the dueling sword. I got to look at the ability first before you.
Yeah, the stiletto. It kind of just skives off its scales, and you can hear it skive off its scales like it's hitting metal and miss. I'm gonna put you in combat. Your quick is 16.
Yes.
And so I'm gonna have to do this. the long way around. Okay. And we enter the next round of combat. Lazarus, you miss with your sword, and you are standing on the other side of the great forest worm. You might or you might not be able to see Varama on the other side. You definitely can hear someone through the tall grass. What does Lazarus do?
I can see. I'm sorry. I can see what?
You're standing next to it. You might be able to see the Varama or a barbarian woman on the other side of it in the tall grass, past its bulk. But you are right next to it. You attack it, and it kind of makes a half turn between you and Varama. What does Lazarus do?
Now, is this barbarian I see human?
Yes.
Okay, so immediately that piques his interest.
You see Varama, essentially.
Yeah, and he will make his best attempt to attack the beast.
Okay.
I think I'm supposed to have a fencing sword.
Yeah, you have stiletto on your...
Yeah, it's supposed to be a stiletto and a sword. Two sword-like weapons, I think, was my goal. So anyway, I'll just roll the Rose Peak until I can fix it, because I think it's going to
Okay.
do the same damage as the sword that I meant to use.
Okay, and then we can fix it after this moment is done, this event.
And I can make 2 attacks, right?
Right, you can make your full round attacks.
Okay. Was terrible damage.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, both your swords, like it's probably you're a little wobbly getting on your feet. Your head is still pounding and your body's still feeling the effects of being within the grasp, and both those swords miss as you attack it.
Just what, Gene or Joe? Why is your deep impact only doing 1d1 damage? Shouldn't it be a roll like 1d4 or something like that, or?
Deep impact is +1 damage.
Yeah.
Oh, is it just +1? Oh shit.
Deep
Yeah.
impact weapon is +1.
Lascar, you shimmy down the trees. You don't really see Lazarus get up from the ground. You're too intent on perhaps entering the fray and the barbarian woman who's already injured. And you're at the base or at the edge of the glade. You see the giant forest worm there, half turn, perhaps. What does Lascar do?
Hunter instincts now, not the ability, but just thinking. Is there a way now to come and flank the beast?
You could run through the grasses. You got positioning. It wouldn't be that hard to run through the grasses. Even they're tall enough to come at a different angle, and so surely you could probably get a flanking position. You would probably see as you're running towards the great forest worm, Lazarus stand up. At some point he's going to come into view, and you would probably take a tact that would put Lazarus with these two swords and yourself on opposite ends. So I think as a hunter instinct, as you move into the glade, you suddenly see Lazarus stand up with these two swords from out of nowhere and attack it, that you could flank it, get on the other side.
Brilliant. Alors, let me try to strike a deal with you. I think there is a maneuver. It's knockout. If I make a beast lore now, and recognize some kind of weakness in the worm. Could I possibly try knock it down? Just like with a nicely placed, somewhere on a nerve, a special nerves near the brain or something, and maybe he won't kill it, but he will disable it like at once.
I think you could take action away from it for a round. I don't know if you can disable it completely. Does the book have that in the advanced rules?
I need to hit.
Right.
I roll damage.
Okay.
I roll damage. We don't take into it does no damage, but instead of that, I roll a d12. If I roll under my damage, it's knocked off.
Say that last part. If you roll what damage with the d12?
I roll under the damage with a d12, it's knocked out.
Okay, I'd let you do that.
Okay. Do you want me to roll cunning first with beast lore?
Yeah, you do your beast lore first. See if you could figure that.
Versus nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go. So I do just that. I run as fast as possible, placing myself at an angle. So I do the lovely, 3-step, like long. What's the, this athletic Olympiad? You go
long jump.
Yeah, long jump. I jump above it all, above them all, and try to knock it out. To knock it out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm correct. Yeah. So that will be it's a 50-50. At least I need to hit first. I only have 10 accurate. I don't know what's the modifier, but so it's at an advantage because I flank it, yeah?
Flanking, yeah.
Yeah, let's go. No.
Yeah. Lazarus probably sees you. He sees you enter, and then he just sees his head, moving up through the tall glass. Varama hears you come through and sees you leap up over this tall grass. And how does Lasker miss? Like, what does that look like?
But I think the snake too sees me come in, and I leaped like a gazelle, like just too high and 3 times, and it was just too obvious. And my third leap just basically makes me trip over the worm, and I end up on the opposite side or something like that. Still, yes.
You think you end up on Lazarus' side, like you come to a stop on the same side and you're no longer flanking? Or do you want to
No,
stay
I don't think.
flanking?
No, I'll keep my flanking position,
Okay.
but yeah, just on the opposite side, sort of. I probably roll at the last second when I see that I completely lost. I came in at the wrong with the wrong momentum. My first step was wrong, so the whole sequence arrived late or early, something like that.
Varama witnesses all of this, broken, standing with her staff ready. She sees Lazarus rise out of the grasses, and Laskar come bounding through the grasses and jumps over with his sword up and just realizes that spear realizes that that misses. He hears him hit the ground and maybe roll a bit. Sees the grass kind of flatten, and now it's you, Lazarus, and Laskar around this giant forest worm. What does Varama do?
Does the worm look like is it still focused on me, or is it look like it's gonna it could go anyway?
Yeah, you realize that it's now kind of encircled a little bit, and so it's a good position for Rama to be, but it is a chance roll. She figures she has a 1 in 3 chance. If she's unlucky, it might attack her. Or these other, one barbarian and one obviously not, may be enough to take the pressure off her.
Let me just look here what its armor is. What I've been seeing. Oh man, a 6 did like 0 damage to it.
It has 6 armor. That yeah.
It's got 6 armor.
Yeah.
Like, I won't do shit to it, even if I roll max.
It's like stone.
I guess I wouldn't know that gamey term, so I think she would give out she would let out a war cry. It almost sounds like a bird's squawk, Rah! And then tries to swing at it.
Okay. Now, is she just doing this in a moment of battle, or is there something left in her of being a witch and protecting barbarians and her clan?
I think it's no, it's just protecting herself at this point. She's almost dead. She's at 2 health. I don't even think she's thinking clearly. I mean, I don't even know.
Okay.
Yeah. So here comes the. Oh, do we get
flanking
advantage?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that advantage or is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Woo.
Oh
yeah.
Hey,
of all
you
you just crack it with your staff. It's just a little hit. You see maybe some of its scales like flicker off. It's been damaged before, and you see the blood on it, and you just do a little bit of damage. You realize but it's still something more than has been done at the moment. You can see the arrows in its back and maybe long cut marks in it. It's obviously not at full strength, but you took a little bit of away. Can do. You have been watching this whole thing. In fact, you saw the giant forest worm come into the glade and set up shop. Kind of come into the middle, make a little circle where now Varama is sitting, and then arch over, lay down in the grass. And you were in a predicament that the forest worm didn't know you were there. You're way too close to it in the grass, kind of sitting down, and you couldn't move. You were just waiting because you know that movement, it would hear you. You're uncertain of what to do. And your kind know how dangerous a forest worm can be. The battle commences. It's only been 12 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds. You may have risen to your feet, seen Lascar come running through the high grass and make his leap, see Lazarus stand up, and a female barbarian brandish her staff. What does Candu do?
Well, Candu needs the snake gone. The worm. Because Candu can't leave the place if the snake's still there. And the little people are probably gonna die if he doesn't do anything. And Candu can do anything. So,
Okay.
probably, I imagine, a significant amount of the undergrowth explodes out as 7, nearly 8 foot tall, large ogress figure come bursting out of the undergrowth, roaring at the gang. before laying just straight into the face of the snake with a flail.
Okay. Lazarus probably hears you and feels you come through to hide the high grass. This giant figure all of a sudden materializing in a roar. You might flinch a little bit thinking there's another giant worm, but it's just Kendu.
Yeah. Is this advantage because we're all ganging up on this thing?
Yeah, I think you all have advantage now. You're all kind of surrounding it. Oh my goodness.
Woo! End of
That
the
was
story.
unexpected. Completely unexpected. What does that look like, Kendu? As you
I imagine everyone's on edge, we've got to have our perfect coordination. You duck, I dive, you weave, and we might all get through this alive. And then there is just the roar that no one was expecting, a whoosh over Lazarus's head, as the heavy weight on the end of a flail narrowly misses him, and the head of the snake is just smushed against a tree.
Yeah, Kendu comes through and he's tall, obviously, way up there. And so he has good purchase. The forest worm is distracted by everyone all of a sudden popping up everywhere. Lazarus, Lascar gets hit by the staff of Varama and then takes it by great force from Kendu, and it just falls on the ground in its death throes, bouncing up and down and around the ground. You all are kind of standing around it. Varama, Lazarus, Lascar, and Kendu, probably breathing hard. Varama's probably breathing the hardest, favoring one leg.
She's leaning on her quarterstaff.
Right. What does Varama say as the great worm goes down?
So, yeah, I think Varama would just lean on her staff, and at this point, there'd be another squawk, and the bird would come down and lands on her shoulder, and it would start barking at her, "Rah, rah, 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 rah," and then she would respond. She doesn't really acknowledge anybody else yet, and she's like and it becomes clear that she's having a conversation with this magpie, and she's saying, "Well, don't call me stupid. You're the one who didn't see the bear, and that's why we're in this situation now. Can't help it. Follow this. No, don't interrupt me." And she's having this squabble with this crow, or not a crow, with the magpie. I'm gonna keep mixing them up, but crows and magpies, I think, belong to the same kind of
they are
family there.
Yeah, Corbett.
It's a magpie, and she's just breathing heavily. And then at this point, everybody can just see that she's got like a real big gash on her leg. She's got like a bunch of cuts on her body. She just looks like in a really bad way. And she's out of breath.
Interrupts the squabble and says, "Let me tend to your wounds, my fair maiden."
describe Lazarus for them.
I think he kind of looks dashing, kind of your standard pretty boy, human. Dark hair.
Is he barbarian or Ambrian?
He's Ambrian. He's I don't know. He would probably first present as upper class, somewhat snooty, but he looks like he can hold his own with a weapon. And maybe he's not shy to share his ability to not just bind your wounds, but some magical healing. So he's approaching you in that respect to offer healing, and you might think that you're watching him and he looks like he's starting to be inappropriate with his touching, and then realizes, oh, I have to focus on the wounds.
So I mean, I've seen he was in the fight. He took a swing. Yeah, he took a bunch of swings at it, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
ineffective, but ineffective, but he did. Yeah, and
she
he
kind
has
of
light armor, wearing light armor on. Gene, I'll ask this later, but I meant to ask, like, do we have starting equipment, or is it supposed to be whatever? Like, because I'm privileged, I start with 50.
Yeah, you could use that 50. I missed the privilege part. I thought you probably took it and could add that and spend it as you wish if you wanted to.
'Cause I didn't know what I was limited to as far as, because I didn't really purchase
Okay.
a whole lot. But anyway,
So
I think
Varama, I think go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Ro would at first kind of take up a wary sort of maybe a defensive stance, so maybe like clutch her quarterstaff a little bit more tighter. And then the magpie would probably squawk something in her ear, but she she's disheveled. I mean, her hair is just like down, or covered in sweat, blood, and she would warily, very carefully, keeping a close eye on this clean, ugly city bred fop. You know, she would probably allow him to um, look at her wound. If she sees any funny business or any monkey business with his hand, she's gonna like wrap his knuckles with the quarterstaff. She's
Okay.
this is not her first. She's no spring chicken, and she knows the way these. Especially, I would assume amongst the barbarian men that they're pretty wild and yeah. She's not. She knows what she would know what this guy's up to, and she's not like a teenager or something. I think I made her like 30. She's old. She's an old maid. She's 30 years old. Oh,
what the hell? Jesus Christ!
Lay on hands.
All right, he I don't know. He trips because he was mesmerized by your beauty. I don't know what happened.
The smell of blood,
I don't
sweat.
know. He tries again.
she kind of. Oh, okay,
There you go.
great. So I get 3 back.
Get 3
Yes.
back.
Maybe he fumbles, like she wraps him a few times,
Now, Gene,
takes his attention away.
is that correct? I'm supposed to receive 1 temporary corruption per casting, or am I supposed to roll a d4?
Yes. Do you have it at second level?
No, I have it at novice.
Then you have to roll a d4, I believe, right?
You d4
Twice.
temp for theurgy at novice, unless this is like a strong gift thing.
No.
Yeah, no, it's d4.
Yeah, I don't know. Did it just roll one for you?
It
It
just
just
gave
gave him
me
1.
temporary
Yeah,
corruption.
it doesn't
Yeah,
look like it's rolling.
We'll just leave it there, and I will kind of
Well,
look at it.
I'll roll a d4 for each one if you want.
Okay. Same.
Same for the first one.
Just make sure you adjust it, because it probably gave you like an extra 1 as well. Is it like you probably we're up to like 6 now or something?
No,
We should only be at
it
4.
didn't do it. He just has to add 2. Yeah, add 2 to
Oh,
his
okay.
temporary. So he's not quite
And
at his threshold.
So I will roll it again because I'm precariously. I can notice that she's still injured.
You're gonna tempt
Great.
fate.
Well, while
Yeah, I
that's
am.
happening, he'll Rama will say, "It's a good thing we were all here at the same time. Thank you," he says to the hunter who initially.
It worked
Cool,
that
thanks.
time.
Yeah, I think the
Maybe
other
you
one.
just rolled ones.
Yeah,
the first time
I think
around.
you just rolled ones the first time, so I think you just have 6 total, just underneath your.
Okay. Okay.
Can-do,
You're
you
almost
see
at full,
Lazarus
right?
go over and attend to the witch, or attend to Varama, and you can see Lascar on the other side. What does Kandu do is as Lascar attends to Varama, who's obviously a female barbarian.
Like the little people are constantly trying to bone each other. It's so silly. But Kandu's flail is like halfway stuck between snake skull and tree, so it was like putting a foot on the tree, hand on the forest worm, trying to extract it before looking to see if there's like anything interesting about the worm that could be taken as a trophy, because he did kill this worm. I mean, he didn't hunt it, but and I suppose the
I'll
little
turn my
people helped.
attention to the worm and ask you, is it good eating?
Chewy.
Lascar, you see the 8-foot orgish kind of thing relieving his weapon from the giant forest worm, looking at it. And Lazarus, or the Ambrian man, approach. Everyone has seen healing, so you can see that magic being done. What does Lasker say or do as things start to settle?
I think Lascar is looking to help Kendo get the trophy. He was initially intending to cut the teeth of the worm and offer them to Kendo. But as he sees that Kendo is already like trying to look for some form of trophy from the beast, he'll kneel one knee down and say, "Big man, you were on this head monster. You saved us all. You saved us all. Thank you. May I cut its teeth off and offer them to you?"
And Kandu just looks down at you and is like, Kandu has his own knife. Also, snake skulls are flimsy. You can break them out. So he uses his own beast law to look for a decent tooth. Because I can get a trophy with beast law. This Kandu just like
Yeah, it has pretty big fangs. You could think of it like
pries it open, like snaps. Did you know snake jaws like that? They aren't connected, and then all the mouth bits are floating, and just sort of like yanks out part of a jawbone. It's like, see, teeth come out.
Well done.
Anyone with beast lore can make a beast lore roll.
Yeah.
I mean, you just
Success.
it's just cunning, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, you should be able to just hit beast lore on. Yeah, cunning. Both Kandu and Lascar, as you are looking at this giant forest worm, you realize and remember that giant forest worm are burrowers. They live in the ground. Typically, they mate and have a brood in late fall and leave their burrows in the spring time. And where there's one great forest worm, there are generally more.
More should be around. They live in a pack. They all come from one egg. Many of them. Maybe just
This would definitely be enough eating for people for a while. We don't need more. Moving would be sensible.
agreed.
Now you're in Davokar with sight of Carvosti. Carvosti is in sight. Some of you may be going there for particular reasons, and others may be just passing through. It is the only safe haven that you know that's close. What and the group is probably low to separate at the moment. What would your plans be, or what would you talk about? Would you go to Carvosi, or would you plan to go other places that Laskar may know about that's further?
I'm looking for a girl. My
Yeah,
sister.
what do you? Oh,
And dude just looks at Varama. There, girl.
Yeah. There are many girls, many. Some of them lost, like my sister. I was heading to Carvestine, hope to get a bit more information about her. She's a changeling. Anyone seen a changeling around?
Sorry. How do you? You said that she was. Your character says that she was going to where?
I'm going to Carvosti to get news,
Oh,
hopefully, of her.
okay. Um,
Many travelers there with news from all around.
You can travel there.
I do.
Let's go. Maybe we can sell some of this meat. We can't eat it all.
Are
Yeah,
you
I
going
like
to take some with you?
snake good meat.
Gene, how long is this? Is it like large size? Is it like 12 feet
Yeah,
long?
you said it was like
like
3 meters.
well, it was 3 meters above you when it just stood up
Aye,
like half length, right?
right,
So it's
twice.
probably 5-6 meters long.
Okay.
Can do, and Laskar would think it's small for a forest worm.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Brahma would. She would start another debate with the bird and just say, "No, Mero, this is the chance we need to rest. It's been a long day, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I got absolutely mauled by that bear that you should have been keeping. No, don't interrupt me. We're gonna go with them just for tonight. We're gonna stay and we're gonna rest, and then we'll be on our way. No,
Okay.
tut." And then she just shuts them. Tries to like swat at the magpie. The magpie just kind of nips at her, and then it jumps up in the air and flies up in the air.
So the group perhaps packs up some provisions, or make meat. Obviously, you can't take the whole thing. Laskar and Kendu may take teeth or the rest of its horns, one or the other side, and you're going to try to make Carvosti before dark. Who leads?
Well, as a tracker, I could feel confident going ahead. Bushcraft, trapper.
It's fairly easy. You just go to the bit where the forest is less dark. And Kandu starts walking. Probably like snowplow through undergrowth.
I think Laskar would know, being a Baega and having traveled south in search of his sister, that the Baega clan has come to believe that the forest is darkening. They're under more assault at their temporary villages, because Baegas are somewhat wanderers, although gracious wanderers. They have been attacked by what they call blight ants, or dark ants, which are about 2 meters tall and poisonous, from the middle of Davokar, and that Davokar is pressing on their lands. There's more beasts, more abomination, and that's why there's some discord in the clan because their chief was assassinated, and they have yet to elect a new one. And there's some factions within the Bayaga clan. But Laskar's view on the Dark of Davokar, and perhaps some, aside from the Plains barbarians and the Odavs, or the people who are in league with or benefiting more from Ambrians, the ones who are further south of Davokar, but the ones who are in the middle have come to feel that Davokar is darkening.
Mhm.
And so there's nowhere safe.
I think Laskar feels somehow that um, finding a way to help Erex come back would solve it all. Would solve the Bayagan's internal struggles. Erex would elect the next chieftain in no time. Then he would help with fighting against the darkening of the forest. And somehow I think Laskar doesn't really thinks that aloud in his head, but he's looking for a way to find Erex. He heard that Erex is somewhere in the Yonder world, and Laskar, possibly the life goal of Laskar is to find a passage to the Yonder world to bring back Erex and avoid political complications. Then just bring back the big boss of his clan and have him decide. So yeah, that's what he'll be thinking about while he gathers his bolas and throwing axe in the glade, and happily follows the ogre. He won't compete for. He's not a power struggler. He's not looking to entice people out of their way or whatever. He just follows the path if there is one.
Okay, so Kandu is going to lead, and I think Laskar at this time would be watching as he goes through the forest, as hunters are, where there's one hunter and one hunt. And so what I would have Kandu do is roll cunning, find his way through the forest, perhaps, and Laskar to roll vigilant.
You get the vibe that Kandu doesn't really care where he's going. He's just going.
he just heads off to where the plateau looks like it is. He's not really looking for a path. He's just heading in that general direction.
He said you go where it gets lighter, so we're going up a hill in this forest, so we're closer to the sun, and that's lighter.
Yeah, so Kandu goes out in front, this tall 8-foot creature, in the general direction of Carvesty, which is northerly. He's not really following a path because he doesn't need to. He makes his own path through the low brush and the grasses, even through Davokar, unless it's heavy undergrowth. Laskar's trying to follow him, maybe, and the trees and Davokar, and falling back under. He doesn't see it until it's too late. 3 figures come from just in front of Kandu, one straight on and 2 on either side, wearing mail, armor, and helms. What does Laskar do?
Mail and helms, Ambrian.
No. Laskar would know by the glint of it if he looks that they're traced in red, and any barbarian would understand that these are Wrathguards from Carvosti, the High Chieftain's private guard. of 100 Wrath Guards, and their
Las-
armor is very distinctive.
Lascar sings a song of welcome, and the luck of the path make us meet.
Right. So 3 Wrath Guards come out of the forest. One is really tall, and one is shorter, dark, thinner, dark eyes, and a female. He looks at both of them, and they kind of post up on either side, maybe 10, 15 steps away, and he takes off his helmet, and he looks at Lascar and Varama because they're obviously barbarians. His eyes kind of drift over Lazarus and Kandu, and he says, "Well met, brother. We could see you from the escarpment. We didn't think we'd get here. You'd be alive. We've come to offer aid."
We got the strength of, the 4 of us managed to survive the odds we were faced with. And this big man there, Kando, gave the finishing blow to this woodworm. And we bring woodworm skin in offering to Carvosti.
He shakes his head. He kind of looks. He goes, "My name is Ionid.
My name is
I'm one of the
Lascar.
gate guards." "Hi. Anvar, how many are you? How many are there? What did we see up on the escarpment?" And the female takes off her helmet, and you can only see the left side of her face, which is very pretty and beautiful. Her hair is tied back in a braid, and she has a long spear. And she doesn't talk, though, and she gives him 1 and a 2. And then she turns partway, and you see the left side of her face. Looks like some big animal clawed all the way down the side, ripped off part of her jaw. You can see her teeth showing through the parts of her lips and across her neck. She makes this little guttural sound. And he goes, "Well, we are here to offer aid. How many did you?" And she goes again like this. And she goes, "There are 3 more behind you, 2 adults and a smaller juvenile like the one you just fought. What type of aid do you wish?" And so when barbarians offer aid, it is not their decision of what kind of aid they give unless it's obvious of what kind of aid is needed. And so whenever a barbarian offers you aid, he puts the decision in your hands of his life and the type of aid you're willing to accept. And so Ionid looks at you and says, "Do we stand or do we run?"
There are more woodworms after us.
"Yes, there are 3, 2 adults and a juvenile. It is your choice."
Almost fair fight.
Like,
We we're looking for a nice place to get a rest. I think at this point, guys, your help is welcome. If you can accompany us to Carvosti, that would be
Okay.
ideal.
Ionid nods at you, Lascar, and then he looks at Varama. "What say you?" At the same time, he kind of looks at Varama, the woman who had given the hand signals, who obviously doesn't have a voice, slams her shield with her spear. And Ionid looks at her and just shakes his head. And then
what?
looks at Varama for her vote.
Do I understand what happened there? Because
She wants to
Bartleby
fight.
does it.
Yeah, the female Arona wants to fight. She doesn't have a voice, and she's mitten half
Oh,
her
I see.
face, and she's got a spear, but she's a Wrathguard. And there's some interplay between Ionid and Arona, but she's obviously eager to put her spear to work, regardless of
Is
the
there
danger.
okay? Is there some kind of economic rationale for fighting and killing more of these things, or is it just cause it's
No,
fun?
the only economy is glory and a story.
Okay,
You can
yeah,
sell
Brahma.
trophies.
Yeah, but it's not some sort of pressing thing like we're under siege all the time by these things, so we need to keep them. No, okay. So Brahma would say, the hunter's vote is a prudent one. The fourth is in balance. There's no need for us to go and kill more of these and slay more of the beasts. Let us leave them alone, and they will hopefully leave us alone at this point.
Well said, sister. He turns to Lazarus, the Ambrian. Everyone gets to vote, and you are all company. And that's the barbarian way, regardless of whether Lazarus is an Ambrian or not. What say you, Ambrian? Do we stand, or do we run for Carvosti?
Hmm. I'm looking around. I don't know if we're prepared for this kind of fight.
Yeah, Enid probably laughs just like that. You say that, and he laughs and nods. Me neither. Me neither, Ambrian. Well, I guess we don't have to ask you, big man, now do we? I guess we're
Why
headed
are we
to.
running?
The vote is in, and Enid looks at Arona, and she like sighs, and he rolls her eyes. Some other time, Arona, your seeking a death is not for today. And 3 Wrath Guards turn around and lead you towards Carvosi at a fairly big clip. It probably takes you 20, 25 minutes. You approach Carvosi, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger in the in your view as you're coming in the forest. You could see it kind of through the trees as it thins, and then you get to a section where it looks like the trees have been felled around Carvosi um, to have like a open track around it, so that you can see it. I'll pull up a picture here just a second of Carvosi.
So we have Yened and the girl.
Irona.
Yep. You have Enid, who's the big tall guard. You have Arona, who's the female, missing half her face, and you eventually hear the other one, whose name is. Any barbarian in.
Gene, you cut out. Whose name is what?
Malcor.
Malcor.
Right. The barbarians in the group would probably realize that Enid is an Odav. Malcor is from Sa'ar, and the woman is from so where is it? Is from Eonai, or the tree people. And so you approach. Okay. Go ahead.
Sorry, Irona is from Eonai?
Right.
Okay.
And so you come up to the path that leads up to the gate of Carvosi, which is where my ping is. It's a fairly steep climb. About a third way up, you are gathered by another Wrathguard who's standing watch, and Eonid looks at him and asks him if the bowmen are on the ridge, and he nods his head. And you continue up the path. You collect Wrathguards, like they're lining the path, having expected something bad to happen, and you collect maybe 4 or 5 as you go up to the gates. The gate of Carvosi is open, and there's 3 or 4 other Wrath Guards standing at the gate. They all wear mail that is edged in red. Most of them do not have their helmets on at the moment. You can see the wall of the gate, and there's a number of Wrathguard archers on the top. And the gates are open. You enter the gate, and perhaps Varama and Laskar would know that that is somewhat unusual to just be ushered in through the gate of Carvosi. And in the gate of Carvosi, you immediately see there's groups of people waiting. On one side, there's Templars of Prios in light colored mail and have their helmets on. On the other side, you can see a number of the Wrath Guards. And in the middle, obviously, a Witch of the Holdra. Eonid comes up, and the witch looks at him and says, "Are these it? Are there any more?" Eonid says, "These are all there am." At the same time, the Templars interrupt, and kind of brusquely, and kind of shout out, or at least one of them, "How can we be sure they're not evil? You should give them to us. We will take them to the temple and have a priest look them over." And one of the Wrath Guards on the other side yells back, "This is neutral territory. This is our job, not yours, Templar." And there's some degree of animosity that goes back and forth between the Wrath Guards and the Templars until the Templars, a number of them, put hands on swords. At which point the diminutive witch in the middle holds up her hand and just says, "Quiet," in a small, guttural kind of voice, but doesn't use any more force, doesn't scream, and looks up at the gate and says, "They have passed the gate and the guards of the gate." And you kind of understand that she doesn't mean the Wrath Guards or the archers, but the gate itself. And the gate hasn't sang out. And one of the Templars yells out, "They could be hiding it, witch." And she kind of looks over. She's a younger woman, maybe in her 40s, dark hair, wearing the robes of the Holdra. And she nods a little bit, kind of just shakes her head and comes up to you. She looks at Laskar and says, "Brother, your name and business in Carvosti."
I'm Laskar. I'm just a trapper on all sorts of tracks, hunting for abomination, waiting for Erex's return.
I think, Laskar, you're here for a different reason. And so, because of your secret, I would have you make your roll in this session.
Let's go.
Your discreet roll, right?
Okay.
Right. She looks at you a little bit as you give her the answer, and she seems to be staring right through you. And then some decision is made that your answer must be appropriate or reasonable, and she moves on.
Uldra, I wish to talk to you later.
And she looks at you and she says, "If it needs be, I will send you permission to enter our part of the mountain." She goes to Varama and she says, "Sister, have you come bring a message? I don't remember your name. Why have you come? And from which clan are you?"
So Varama's not. She's gonna say to her, And Omero, her magpie's on her shoulder. She's gonna say, hold on, I'm just looking up some. She's gonna say, "I'm Varama." Actually, before I say this, where is it? Just her and I quietly talking with each other?
Well, you guys are kind of standing in a line, like right inside the gate. To the left in front of you is a group of Templars who are staring down. To the left of you is the group of Wrathguards. The Holdra is kind of in the middle of this half circle around her of animosity and tension between Ambrian Templars and Wrathguards. Kind of like a rock in a boiling sea. And so they're there. They can hear you what you say.
What I want to know is if Arona is close enough to me or not. One of the Wrathguards, the one with their face ripped off.
Yeah, she's probably behind you. I mean, she probably brought up the rear with Eonid in the front.
And is she?
Malrek probably just is outside the gate a little bit.
Does she look younger? Arona? Does she look younger than me? I'm 30 years. My character's 30.
Yeah, she's younger than you, but Wrathguards can serve for quite some time. But she is younger. Do you think that Varama knows her?
She's hoping that. No, Varama doesn't know her, but she's hoping that she doesn't know that it's not vice versa. So
okay.
Varama's just gonna say, "I'm Varama," and she's gonna try to talk quietly, actually, like almost a whisper. And she'll say, I am from the Inuai clan, far to the north. And I was in training under one of the elders, and I have been sent out to learn more of the ways.
The ways of the forest, child, or
yes, I don't know what the language, what we would say for witchcraft in the forest.
You are on a walk then.
Yes.
You are on a walk from your keeper of the Inuai.
Yes.
And so Rama's lying.
Yeah, she's kind of lying.
Right.
So it's half a lie, half a true.
Roll
it's a bit wishy-washy,
Roll a discreet at -3, please.
-3. Oh.
You're talking to a witch of the Holdra. Right. She looks at you, Varama, and nothing shows on her face. And she says, I am Ephraimah, and I can see to the heart and soul of anything that I look at directly. It is good to have you here, sister. And then she moves on. Nothing passes to her. She doesn't say anything. If you probably would realize that you're not certain if that floated or not, whether that what you told her was believed, but she has given you a courtesy of a witch and a sister that whatever your business is, it sure isn't something that you need to speak aloud among all these men, Wrathguard Templar.
That's right.
That's the sense you get.
Down with the patriarchy. That's what I say.
She goes to Lazarus and asks the same question, Ambrian. What brings you to our gates? From where in Ambria do you come?
Oh, here and there. I seek fame and fortune. I mean, I'm already famous.
Yeah, she kind of clucks her tongue, because that's what an Ambrian would say. But this is neutral ground, and there are plenty of fortune hunters here. And she looks at you for a moment, like all the rest. Uh, Lascar may not know how deep she's looking, or maybe he does because he has power. He has witchcraft, and he might know that she is using something to look at his aura or his being. Um, before she nods at him and says, "I wish you luck. Most die, lose heart, and go to the bottle." And she goes to Candu and looks up at him and goes, "And what are you?"
Let's say he looks like a beast of the forest.
I'm bored.
You say it just
We
like
had
that. I'm bored.
good chance at fun fighting. Everyone want to come into the side walls.
Cool. Are you looking for work then? Big.
Is the work fun?
I would think you might have fun doing it. From where do you come, forest dweller?
Lots of places. I've been walking for a long time.
Well, we welcome all children of the forest, so long as they don't have a black soul and abominations. She turns around to the Templars and she goes, "They are clean. I have passed my judgment." And
Can
they
Lascar intervene?
sure.
Fernea, mm, those priests said that we could be hiding something. What would that be?
Which priests is he talking about?
Those Ambrians.
The Templars?
Were they Templars?
Yes.
All the same.
She looks at you, but you don't see anything. You might see a little in her eyes, a little that she agrees, but because she's half turned towards you, and you see the Templars kind of drift, but you realize that she's not in the position to say anything else regarding her thoughts on the Templars, and she just looks at everyone around and repeats, "This is neutral ground. Any actions taken that are not neutral will see you imprisoned and judgment passed on those who oversee your persons." Uh, and then she kind of turns and walks away. The Templars, release their hands from their swords. There's a bit of grumbling, but the group of them kind of turn and start walking back towards the center of Carvosti. The Rascards just kind of settle, and you hear some jokes being passed around. And Ionid looks at the group and he says, "It is true. This is neutral ground. All are welcome and all are free, but we are the ones who maintain the peace. Be peaceful, and all will be well. Create a ruckus, and we will have to get involved. But understand, it is not us who pass judgment. We simply enforce the peace." Does anyone want to say anything before they go towards the center of Carvosti?
Neutral ground is a dream. The land belongs to nature and the spirits. The rest is politics.
It might be a dream if
Oh,
we could possibly make some money.
I would high five Lascar if we knew about high fives.
You can
Yeah.
do just sort of like pats him on the head and like the sort of like, that's some nice thinking. You're not as smart as Kandu. Kandu knows that people have to have places they can't stab each other.
Yeah.
Why don't we take like a 5-minute break? It's been like an hour and a half, and we'll come back.
Very
Okay.
good. Thank you.
Good
All
idea.
right.
Do you got some time to look at my character sheet?
Sorry, I forgot I was muted here. I'm talking to you. It's just like
Yeah, it happens.
male or female?
Male.
From the forest or Ambria?
My thought was he is from a town. If you see my bio for the background there, I just added something quick.
Okay. Do you think he just arrived on Carvosi, or has he been there for a little while?
I think he just arrived. Maybe he is just wandering.
Okay. And he wants to be a ranger.
He wants to be a ranger, but he also wants to be skilled with the daggers. And he is young, so he doesn't really know what he wants.
Okay. I will feed him here in a second. I got an idea of how to do that.
I linked you as a private message picture also.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll look that up and see. On Discord?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me download it or copy it, and then let me get back.
Is it usable?
Yeah. I'm pretty fast
for
with
this.
Photoshop, so.
Could I use the abilities from the?
You can use anything that's written.
Okay.
If it's in one of the modules I don't have like loaded, like one of the Throne of Thrones has some of them in there that I didn't load.
Oh yeah, because I was just thinking about maybe moving away from both daggers and bow and just use the bow because the trick archery looked fun.
Okay. So
but
you
I
want
think I think I'm gonna go with the way he is
at the moment. Okay. And then you
Yeah.
can kind of, what I typically do is that as people play, like the first couple sessions, sometimes they want to change things a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
They realize, well, maybe they didn't want to go, a different route. And then I,
Yeah.
let them kind of retool. Let me do his picture here really quick and do a token.
Yeah, if I can do that later on, I think I'm gonna try this and
yeah, I let people kind of like change a little bit because sometimes you realize, well, that skill didn't work or that it didn't fit what I was thinking, and I let people change around.
Yeah, because my attribute was totally different, and then I saw what Sixth Sense and Feint did, so that kind of changed everything for me.
Some of the attributes, like you think they're really, really important, then you look at an ability and go, "Oh, I can just take that and ignore it."
Yeah.
Almost there.
Are you done?
Mm-mm. All right. Oh. All right, everyone back?
Yeah.
I'm just muted myself so you don't have to hear my mealy mouth sounds.
Okay. You good, Daddy? And Joe and Gutorm. Okay. So you enter Carvosi. I don't think any of you have been here, except for maybe Varama, and that's up to Varama if she's been here for particular reasons.
He's
And
been
so
here a couple
many of
times.
you, yeah, might be your first time here. As you come through the gates, you see a few things. First, the first thing you see is the Thingstead, and the Thingstead is where the barbarians are camped. If it's a big festival, if it's a chief meeting, if it's a holiday, there could be hundreds there. It has the only inn in the sense that it has the only longhouse that has food. Now, culinary arts are not really well known on Carvosi or barbarians unless you're at a barbarian homestead. And so coming to Carvosi for food is probably not a good idea. And you see a number of tents and wagons, which are obviously from the barbarians. Most of those are from the Odavs, who control the lands to the east and have folded in a lot of respects with Ambria. There is some discontent about their chief Ebersund and moving the capital of his clan to the Arches and providing armed support for Ambrian merchants, Ambrian hunters in the wood, and in general benefiting and enriching themselves from Ambians. And so a large majority of the barbarians at the Thingstead are Odavs, but there is a mix. You see as you're walking in through the scrub of the top that there's a giant log, probably 10 meters long, that's held up on these cross posts. And you see a man, big giant man, climbing one, and a smaller woman climbing the other side. Barbarians would know that this is a test or a trial or a way to relieve arguments. They are going to stand upon the log that is some 20 meters, some 30 feet or 10 meters in the air. And they've obviously had an argument, and they're going to test each other under swords or axes and resolve their differences one-on-one so as to keep the peace. further on, you see the stronghold of Chief Therabin on past a kind of fissure in the top of Carvosti, and it's built of stone. It's the only kind of structure on Carvosi itself. Further on, you see the Pilgrim Camp, which is really where Ambrians are. A mismatch of tents and structures and slow smoke where Ambrians are. Most of them are either lost, destitute, have no hope, or very organized fortune hunters in bigger groups. You can kind of see the escarpment or the double level. Somewhere in that, along there are arches that lead into the hold quarters, and you can just barely see the dome of the Shrine of the Setting Sun, which is supposedly a ancient temple to the sun god, which believably is Prios, and now houses 2 priests of Prios and the Templars that you met. There's some degree of coordination, at least, that allows them to be there. But barbarians would know that further on towards Carvosi is the Grove of Aloena. You can sort of see the grove from here, the tall trees. None of you, or even the barbarians, have been there. You may have heard stories of Aloena, this giant, tall, ancient female creature that has been on Carvosi for centuries, but most of you have no idea what she is or what she means. And so, Varama, what do you seek in Carvosi? Why would you come to Carvosi?
I think it would be just a good excuse to spend maybe a night here and just sort of see what it's all about. I don't get here very often. I only come in here maybe once a month, and I've only probably been here about half a dozen times.
And so how does it feel coming here now under your present situation?
It feels uneasy. This is too big of a group that she's with, but she feels some sense of obligation to maybe show them around or see if they help them out in this location, because she's been here before. But she doesn't like being in the big group in a settlement like this.
Sure, and she would probably know, out of all of them, since she's been here, that Carvosi is essentially an island sanctuary in the midst of Davokar that presses up against it. It's always in a degree of anxiety and nervousness. There's always a bit of tension. The Carvosi itself has an alarm system that was built a century or two ago. It is occasionally attacked by abominations that crawl up the wall. And there are occasions where things in the pilgrim camp come to be, and that suddenly this animosity and tension between groups are put aside when they have to defend when Davokar rises up against them. Would she go anywhere specific or have any aim aside from being somewhat of a guide?
No, she's just going to be just a guide at this point.
Okay.
Make sure they don't get into any trouble, obey the customs, that kind of thing. I mean, Lascar probably knows all the stuff too, but she's with these others that they might do some sort of taboo or something. So
now, would she take him to the longhouse or the inn for food, or would she rather take him to a pilgrim? Would she offer or recommend that they go to the pilgrim camp instead? They're not barbarians.
Do they want to offload their serpent meat?
True. Lazarus, you've come to Carvosi looking for fame and fortune. How would Lazarus approach that, or what would he's probably heard rumors of Carvosi, but what would his aim be now that but is still alive? And by the way, you recovered your boot.
Completely intact, or do I have to start looking for a new one?
No, the laces may be ruined, but they're fixed.
Well, he's probably a little depressed because he's for possible quick money and significant money, but he would consider talking to these guys about selling some of the meat. If we recovered a large amount, obviously we can't eat it all. It'll spoil rather quickly. So
Yeah, so perhaps go to the lodge and at least barter with the
yeah,
barbarian who runs the kitchen.
yeah. I mean, or even like you said, there's large. You said there were large groups of like fortune hunters, maybe.
Yeah,
Um,
there are at times. Most of the people in Carvosi in the pilgrim camp either are afraid to leave or and have got nothing to lose and or little to hope for. At the moment, he doesn't know, but there isn't a large group organized, from Ordo. Occasionally, a larger, he knows, like Ordo. The church will have groups they're sending out into Davokar, which will use Carvosi as a waypoint, give or take.
I probably would talk to the rest of the guys and just say maybe we could search for a larger group. Anybody know how long we have before this stuff starts to spoil? I
Eat spoils.
Right.
maybe not in your world, big man.
Just eat faster.
Can do. Have you ever been to Carvos?
Would he have been to Carvosi? Great question. He's been through the area before. Like you said, he's done quite a lot of wandering. Probably not actually inside.
Okay. So it's all kind of new for him.
Yes, but Gandu is maintaining that air of I could do that. I see those people standing on flimsy pole. I could do that. Just break pole and throw it at the other person.
Right. You're standing next to the pole with the two up there. There's the Odav on the one side is this huge man with a big giant axe, and the other woman is a Carrick, and at one point they both hit the wood. The woman with her sword, which is long with a slight curved end, and the Odav with his huge axe, and then they start to approach each other, on this log up in the air to air their to test their grievances against each other. There's a bit of betting going on. Does Candu get into the betting?
Do they accept snake teeth as currency?
You want to barter with snake teeth? Sure. With the barbarians around, there's
Yeah,
a
sure.
fair amount of betting. Most of the betting is on the Carrick. Well, most of the betting is on the Oda because of plans, and they bet sparingly with other people um, uh, against the Carrick. And there's a lot of grumblings that the Odavs are just, Ambrian uh, stable boys, or you hear that. Hello, low because the other barbarians are outnumbered. And you offer the teeth in barter or as a bet.
Yeah.
Okay.
He would bet on the carrot is the girl, isn't it?
Yeah, the carrot's a girl.
Yeah, he'll bet on her.
Okay. So someone bets you 7 thalers that the Oldav is going to win. An Oldav bets on the Oldav that he's going to win because he's this monstrous dude with, a big axe. Which seems like a fair bet. You're not really certain what the teeth would be worth, but a number of them pitch in and bet 7 thalers against Candu's bet. Lascar, you're looking for something specific. You see Candu get involved in the bet. You know what's happening up on the log, that it's the test of arms to prevent outright hostilities among a big group, 2 barbarians against each other, not to the death generally, but sometimes they do die up on the log. And Candu bets teeth for 7 thaler on the Carrick against the huge Odav. What would Lascar do now that he's within Carvosti?
He has many things he wants to do. It's the first time he gets here. It's the first time he's that south of his territory, of his homeland. He's curious about most things, but doesn't get involved in the gaming or the bartering or the. He doesn't have a single Orteg to spare. He's totally his pockets, if he had any, would be empty. I think he'd be. He has questions for most of the factions there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So he could be spending quite a bit of time here, going into each and every location, asking his questions. But now, I think he'll go at Verama's side, and while watching the duel going, and in the middle of the betting and all that, just asks her. They talk about neutral space, neutral.
Yeah,
What is?
Carvosi is a neutral space.
I know he asks that to Verama. What is? What do they mean? I mean,
Yeah, I think
isn't the land belonging to the land? I mean, I know, right? We here to protect our bit. I mean, some bit of it, but in the name of something greater. I mean, I don't see why they struggle to share resources. What do you think?
yeah, I mean, I think Brahma would explain that things were in a delicate balance. They always have been, and our people have always maintained that balance, but the newcomers have upset that balance. And as a result, if we did not have a place such as this to discuss our differences, there would be uncounted bodies and bloodshed.
Mm,
And
I had.
I mean, and I think Varama would probably explain to you that Varama, she she believes in a balance to everything, and that everything has that nature has the forest has a way of balancing itself out. But when the wills of men, especially those dangerous ones, those ones that they call Templars, those are the very dangerous ones. They tend to upset the balance. If we would allow the forest to have its balance, and actually this would lead into she would go into a discussion about the forest as well and say that the forest itself has long could be in a balance as well, but it too is suffering. Something is happening deep out in the forest, and which is why things such as abominations and the such they're upsetting the balance. And we cannot reason with them, but we can hopefully reason with some of these men. Like she says, kind of nodding to the Templars. That is why I think it's a necessary evil to have this neutral ground.
I understand. Do you think
I
they're
don't like it either,
responsible for this? Do you think they're responsible for this imbalance? I mean, abominations have been around for a while. There is more of them since they came, but that was already a problem.
I think Brahma, like, I'm just looking at her cunning. She's pretty smart. I think she would say something along the lines of, yeah, it's like a neutral, like in Dungeons and Dragons, like a flat out neutral character. Like, so she would say something like, some would say so. Depends on who you speak in the different clans. Some of the clans think that the old ones in the forest were something went out of balance with them and they caused their own destruction. Others think that it was brought upon by the interlopers. Who is to say? I do not know, but I do know that what my elder told me is that things were in a balance for things had settled down for quite a while until the new people showed up on the south of the forest, the Ambrians. And I don't think they even intentionally mean to. Perhaps they don't even intentionally mean to do it. Not all of them are bad, but it is causing something to awaken in the forest.
Do you think the Templars are mistaking the darkness with the forest?
I do. I think their zealousness and adherence to dogma is dangerous. There is such a thing as a temperance in approach to things. The bear does not kill just for cruelty in sport. It kills because it needs to. And I believe that these Templars are very cruel. They will torture, and they, in their zeal to root out abomination, they will oftentimes burn and torture innocents.
What do you think
And then
about Lazarus?
she would say something like, and I've witnessed this at firsthand, and then she would just kind of turn away to end the conversation.
Mm. Got you. I look at Lazarus with curiosity. I'm wondering if he's in here only for the spoils, and I find it weird as well that Kando is betting the fangs.
Right.
I believe that
So the
Kando is
three-
like he's like a child.
You are bored, you know. I don't know. It's a trophy, you know.
It's a sport for him. The three of you, Lazarus, Varama, and Laskar, go into the longhouse to perhaps offload your snake meat that you have in your packs, at least the some that you have, and get maybe Lazarus needs some coin because he's near destitute.
We
The
consider himself
longhouse,
near destitute.
right, near destitute. He still looks good, but it's near destitute. The longhouse is got some barbarians in there and one giant ogre in the corner. he's got like cup after cup after cup after cup after in front of him, which Varama would know is generally frowned upon on Carvosi because too many people in their cups lead to bad things and animosity and arguments. And Carvosi being an island in the midst of a dangerous, dark Davokar, people need their wits about it. And so it's pretty rare that people drink a lot. The only people who are allowed to drink a lot are those that have come out of Davokar broken mentally and the old, because they need something in their life to make it easier. But the rest don't drink as much. And
That's hilarious.
Right away,
there's
I single him out. Dean.
I'm gonna see if I can apply that to real life.
the ogre.
Yeah, and I say to Ken, I'm like, do you think he has a lot of money for snake meat?
There's the probably a long bar made out of a giant trunk of wood and a big barbarian standing behind it. He's packed on a few pounds, but he's got a apron on, and there's another barbarian woman who comes out shuffling out, gray hair, fairly nice dress on, handing out bowls of soup to the few people in there. I imagine you would approach the ogre, the barman, to sell your stuff.
I lean over to the barman. I'm like, oh, that skirt is becoming of. I mean, that apron is becoming of you.
he kind of laughs and says, "Ambrian, no sweet words for me. Do you wish to eat? Do you wish to eat and have a cup of black brew?
No, I wish to sell.
Oh, you have brought something in from the south,
I have.
perhaps."
And show him our goods.
From the forest. The bounty of the forest.
You just
Surely
show him
this is
this, take it out and put it on the countertop.
yeah.
Yeah,
He looks at it and pokes at it and puts a knife in it and goes, "That's pretty fresh. What is it?"
sure is. Does it matter what kind of meat it is?
Yes. Was it
Mm.
a clean beast or was it blackened? I can't be serving abominations to my barbarians. They eat for
It-
free, but you, Ambrian, you it costs.
Well, it was clean, but it likes to be in the grass.
What does that
As
mean?
Lascar approaches, he says, woodworm, young, clean.
Oh, young. Well, he looks at like the three giant chunks and he goes, "I give you 5 thaler apiece."
5 thaler
Look.
each?
Yes. And your name, brother? I'm Ove, and that's my wife, Teresma.
Lascar.
Lascar. Which clan do you hail from, Lascar? Let me guess. Let me guess. You're not Odav, because definitely not nicely dressed. You're not from the plains, because they got that scurvy look. Maybe Inawai. I don't. You got some
So
tree
I
in you.
show him my biceps.
Oh, Viega.
There you
Arax's
go.
clan. He goes, "All
Next.
barbarians eat and drink for flea at my place. Ambrians," he looks at you, Lascar, says, 2, 3, 4 otags apiece. It's the barbarians eat because the high chieftain pays for them. But
How
how
about
does 5 thalers sound?
20 for the lot? Because we want to be paid evenly here. I look at the rest of the group.
Yeah, he looks at you and he goes, 1, 2, 3. How does 20 get broken up into 3? I'm not very
I'm
good at
looking
math, and I
like,
only
wait a
have
minute,
4
are we
fingers.
missing somebody?
Right. Kandu's out watching the battle up on the
Like,
on
oh,
the
right,
log.
right. We're missing a team member.
Um,
To roll something.
yeah, roll persuasion, just flat out, because your persuasion isn't good as it is.
No.
Whew. Ove looks at you because it's like maybe it's your comment on his apron or
Maybe,
the suaveness
possibly.
of your look, and he just shakes his head. There's 3 of you. That's 15. Puts
Like, I'll be
15
right.
Thaler
I'll
on the
be right
table.
back. I'll be right back. I'm like, I pull and like, follow me. Let's go talk to this guy. Get more money.
Yeah. Lascar doesn't argue. He takes the 5 thaler. He wasn't even expecting to barter.
Okay. Varama, you take your 5 Thaler for your lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Lazarus is going to think about it. Can do. It's down to the wire. So what I'm going to have you do is roll against me.
Mhm.
1d10. If you're higher, your carrot wins, and if you're lower, the ODAV wins.
Not impossible.
Yeah. So you're out there, Kandu, watching this battle go back and forth, and you realize that big giant ODAV with the double-handed axe is completely outmatched by this smaller carrot female. She weaves around him, and at one point she steps past him on the log, goes around behind him, which is a maneuver that gets a fair amount of cheers from the ground. Even the ODAVs who are watching are impressed as this barbarian woman dances around this big man on the log that's 10 meters up in the air, and she just kicks out his knee, not even using her sword, kicks out his knee, and he goes down. But of course he's on a log, so both his legs go flying out on either side. He lands on the log and tips over. A couple ODAVs are close to the log, so when he falls off the log and falls at 10 meters, they just kind of crash down onto the ground, and you hear this big cheer, and the carrot female just raises her sword, and the ODAVs next to you, the 3 of them that chucked in all their money, just kind of grumble a bit and give you 7 Thaler. So you keep your teeth and 7 Thaler. You're standing there, and maybe you got all these little people patting you on the back because you're 8 feet tall. And then there's a shout from all of them, and you look a little bit north, and just to the east of the stronghold is the training grounds. There's a little raised hill that people who have something to give or have something to trade can challenge one of the Wrath Guards or Templars or that sort of thing. And so there's a yell and a whoop, and barbarians all willing and wanting to bet more because there's not as much to do up on Carvosi. You see them kind of shuffle away from the testing or trial grounds, and on the little hill of the testing ground, you see this small goblin. Gutorm, why don't you describe yourself?
Yeah, he's a young fella. He's quite small. He has almost pointing downwards and wide between his eyes. He might look a little insecure about everything here, but yeah, it
So
wasn't easy to blend in.
right. Somehow you've goblined your way up on top of the hill because you have a desire, right? What is that desire?
My desire is to become a pretty damn good archer.
Yeah. And so you have your bow then, not your daggers out.
Yeah, my bow.
Right. So the guard on the top of the hill comes up to you, and it's one of the younger Wrath guards, and he looks down at you, Gutorm, and he says, "Goblin, what do you have to give for this training? Do you wish for me to decide, or Do you have something of value that would be useful for me, one like me, a Wrathguard? And he kind of looks down at you.
You see Gudon takes down in his little some pouch or whatever he has and takes forward 5 shilling.
Yeah,
This is all I have.
The guard laughs, calls himself Herrick doesn't need money. Herrick's a Wrathguard. I tell you what, Goblin. If you lose, you muck out the stables for a week.
I've done enough. If I win,
Not too bad.
Well, you're getting a little bit of pay. That's why you have shillings in your pocket for mucking out the stables now. But if you win, then I muck out the stables. And he kind of laughs.
deal.
Deal. All right. So he whistles at his thing, and the Wrathguards, come up and they get this really small round of wood, like a crosscut of wood, and they take it, and the Herrick looks at you, Gutorm, and he says, "How many paces do you wish to shoot from?"
50.
50. Right. So he looks over at the guard, and he just puts out his hand, and you see the guard goes, "Ah," and 50 paces is a lot. You see him scratch his head a little bit, and he says, "Okay." And so the Wrathguard starts walking down the way, and kind of approaches it. Now a whole crowd of barbarians have gathered around you, and including this huge ogreish-looking Kandu who towers above them, and they're obviously casting bets. Some bet for you, but they're really betting little money, just for the giggles of it. Like they expect the Goblin to win the shooting contest against the Wrathguard. That's crazy, crazy luck right there. Kandu, do you make any bets?
Yeah, sure. I imagine he's probably still just going with the flow of the people.
Do you bet
I've
against
got
or
these.
for the Goblin?
Well, always bet on. I bet on the little one last time, and that worked out well.
Huh.
So
Okay.
clearly these teeth are lucky, and I'm gonna wage them on the little guy.
All right.
I'll say all the teeth but the big one, the biggest one, because that might be a necklace.
And what will Kandu take for it? How much is he willing to accept?
I got 7 thaler last time, and these teeth are clearly lucky. So, but I'm keeping the big one. So 6 thaler.
Okay. So he bet 6 thaler
Oh
against
no!
he
These
bets
are
the
my.
teeth for
I'm
6
betting the
thalers.
teeth for 6
Right, the
thaler.
teeth.
Yeah.
Right. You're betting the teeth for 6 thaler on the Goblin. All right. Gutorm, Herrick looks at you and says, "Your choice, Goblin. Shoot first or second?"
Second.
Oh, all right. Well, you said it. Just a second. I got to actually put a bow on him. Okay. So Herrick pulls out his bow. He looks at Gutorm and he says, "One shot or best of 3?"
Best of 3.
Best of 3. All right.
And you see Gutorm is preparing the arrows, sitting them in the dirt in front of him.
So how we're going to do this is we're going to roll your attack roll, because we don't have a target really, because we're shooting bows, and so he's going to roll his accurate, which is the same as his bow. And so here roll accurate, and you can roll accurate.
Accurate or vigilance, since I have vigilance?
You can use whatever you would normally. So he rolled a 7.
Yeah. So do I do the bow attack or just a vigilant stat?
Yeah, I can't. You can't you have to choose a target for the bow, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I haven't really done this before, where you've shot at something that's not real.
Okay. I'm with you.
Oh. Very nice. And so you on the first shot, like, what does a 1 look like, Gutorm? He shoots and he gets pretty close. Like, it hits the round, like on the edge, perhaps with a 7, like chunk. What does Gutorm's 1 look like? The best roll he could get.
You see him standing there really concentrated. He picks up the arrow. He licks the feathers. He doesn't know if it helps, but he's seen someone do it, and he think it looks professional, and licks the feathers, straighten the bow, and pulls. And he seems a little bit sweaty, maybe because he knows he is kind of into something he's not very good at, but he tries not to seem surprised when the arrow hits.
Yeah, I think a little cheer goes up from the group of barbarians around, like the ones around Candu, like slap them on the back. Maybe those teeth are lucky. They're lucky for everyone. And then a whole new round of betting. Like, people start betting on the goblin, a whole new round of betting, like, a bigger crowd, because the goblin just scored like a center strike on the round, and the wrath guard out by the round goes over there and picks both arrows out, looks back at his wrath guard on the hill, and he shrugs, and Herrick looks at you and goes, "Mighty fine shot, Goblin. I guess you go first this time."
All right. So he does the same procedure, licking the feathers because it worked the first time.
Yeah, like Gutorm's shot really isn't all that good. It like wavers in the air a little bit, and lands, not on the round, but maybe like 10 inches away in the dirt, chunk, but doesn't hit the round at all. And the guard is laughing, like, oh, he's got this made, no big deal. He's laughing, and he puts up his bow, and something happens. Maybe there's a cough in the crowd, or a laugh, or a giggle because of Gutorm's shot, and the guard just completely fails. The string catches the knock of the arrow, and kind of holds it longer than it should have. The arrow kind of shifts around the bow and goes way out into space, comes nowhere near the round, and then this huge cheer goes up around you, because Gutorm somehow beat the Wrathguard 2-3, and the Wrathguard just kind of looks down, and Herrick looks at you, Gutorm, and he says, "Damn, I guess I'm cleaning out some stalls, Goblin. Good shot. Good shot, I say." And then he takes out of his pocket, and he hands you 10 thaler. "That's some luck. You deserve it." And he hands you 10 thaler, and kind of laughs, claps you on the back. All the barbarians who win from you are in a cheer, and there's laughter all around you. Even some Templars who joined in on the fun are laughing, and the mood kind of settles around Carvosi as the laughter kind of filters through. Candu wins 6 more thaler and still keeps his teeth.
I'm telling you, lucky teeth.
Does Candu do anything as Gutorm the Goblin is kind of smiling? He's up at the top.
Uh, It's a little goblin. If I hit it, like even patting it on the back, it might die. But yeah, Kandu is very much endorsing this goblin, and he's made a bunch of new friends. Might have taken all their money, but
Yeah,
still fun.
barbarians don't mind losing their money betting. It's all a game.
Yeah.
They're not as attached to it. It actually is fair fun for them. Inside the log house, Lazarus, you are going to approach the ogre.
Oh, he thinks again about that situation. Be like, maybe I should go talk to Can. Maybe he can better sweet talk this large humanoid.
Yeah, so you walk out, Lazarus, to the lodge. Laskar and Vilema are collect their money. Maybe they stay in the lodge and have one free soup or free stew and black brew. And you walk out of the lodge and you hear this big these scream and laughter and barbarians up above you. Probably catch the end of Gutorm's shot, and you see obviously Kandu out there amongst all these barbarians that were betting on the archery contest. What does Lazarus do?
I'll approach Can. I'm like, oh, what did I miss?
You Mr. Wrathgod like lose more than the little guy.
The little guy
Yeah.
put him up.
Well, the first time that they both hit the target, but the little guy hit it better, and the second time, the little guy missed the target better than the big guy.
Even with his misses, he does okay. Maybe join us.
Everyone found it quite funny.
Oh, you mean he could join us for comic relief?
Comic relief.
But anyway, more important things.
You think
I'm
this
trying to
is
make more-
joke? No, I'm being serious. He didn't lose as badly as the big guy.
Right, I understand that. But maybe I'm trying to make more money here. I mean, money seems to be hard to come by around here. Then I noticed the money in his hand. I'm like, what the hell?
Look for yourself. Very easy to find money here.
Maybe you can
People
talk
keep
to a
giving it to
feller.
me.
Yeah, maybe you can get somebody in the lodge to give it to you. Maybe you can come talk to this big guy. Who seems to have quite a thirst for. I guess it's brew. We still have a chunk of meat to sell.
Why are you selling food? Eat food. That's what it's for.
Yeah, but we need money too, don't we?
And who's just looking at you like, well, what? Why?
I kind of like. Are you willing to share your money? Because I'll share this food.
I've got food. See, I still have snake.
He didn't sell his. Lazarus, you're not making any headway.
So Lazarus kind of shrugs his shoulders, just like wanders off frustrated. He'll go in and try to make his best pass at the big guy in there.
At the ogre?
Yeah, at the ogre, yeah.
Yeah, you approach the ogre and you realize like passed out in
He's
his
passed
booth.
out.
Yeah, passed out with 20, 30 mugs around him. And Teresma looks down at him and just makes a little, just leave him sleep. He'll be fine once he sleeps it off. You selling that meat? We'll give you 4 thaler for it.
I kind of grunt. Is this the female?
Yeah.
How about
Older.
how about 4 Thaler, and you come over to my place too.
No, my husband Ove is behind me. That won't go all up. Plus, you smell too good.
No, he doesn't have to know about it.
She laughs. You want 3 Thaler for that snake meat?
Wait a minute, we're going the wrong way.
How many barbarians you think come in here and try to smooth me for an extra beer?
Well, I'm not trying to get beer off you.
All right. I heard my husband offer you 5 Thaler. You want Thaler snake meat?
Yeah, 5 and maybe a free drink. How's that sound?
Yeah, Black Brew is cheap. And so she takes your snake
Wait a minute.
meat.
Wait a minute. Black Brew, don't you have something better?
This is Carvosi, up barbarian lands. There hasn't been an Odav Cavern yet with better beer, and it sure the heck wouldn't be free if we did have it.
Wait, you have any wine?
She kind of looks at you like weird, like.
God damn it! And I throw the meat on the table like, okay, I'll take that 5.
Right. So you get 5 Thaler. What we're gonna do is transition to like evening. Like there's gonna be a couple hours that pass, and I'm gonna send some information about downtime, about what you may accomplish during those couple hours, and some downtime rules about certain things. And we're gonna transition a little bit into a couple hours later in after you have had some rest. The only place really to sleep is either within the barbarian thingstead, your own tent, or the pilgrim village. Gutorm has been here for a while. Gutorm, where do you sleep since you've worked in the stables?
I sleep in the stables.
Sleep in the stables. And how about Varama and Lass? Would you all stay together, or would you kind of separate into your Ambrian barbarian kind of areas?
I would probably stay in the what did you call it? The Tinglestad? The Tinglestad?
Yeah, next to the Thingstead is where, or the Thingstead itself is where all the barbarians pitch their tents or have wagons.
Oh, that's number 3? Which is number 2 then? I thought it was the opposite.
Number two is the stronghold. Number 3 is Grimgam. Number 1, the Thingstead is closer to the gate. Like right inside the gate.
The Thingstead is where the barbarian folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I would go.
Okay. And I
Maybe
imagine
actually, what does Laskar want to do?
Too many things.
Yeah.
He'll sleep at the Thingstead for sure. But if it's not too late in the evening, he'll have a stroll around the cliffs and possibly look to accompany Lazarus, get to know him better, and have a walk through the Embrian camp and find someone to talk to about traps and Embrian traps. He's looking to buy a medium-sized trap, mechanical trap of Embrian make, and he wants to give that a go.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would be tagging along Lazarus, and if I don't know if you're planning Lazarus to go pass the night at the Embrian camp, possibly.
Be there for sure.
Okay.
Barbarians beneath him. Comments, if you were asking. Like
Yeah,
they don't even believe in smelling nice.
Well, it depends what you mean by nice. I guess the forest has many smells.
It does. You just have to find the right ones. Stay away from the skunks.
Yeah, I understand your point of view.
Let's see if we can find that trap. What kind of trap are you looking for?
Ah, it's something new, you know. I'm used to homemade stuff. I build my own, and I'd like to see how it looks made by white men. You know, I'm looking for knowledge here. I'd like to learn your ways. I'd like to see something technological.
Well, as far as traps go, you'll have to teach me about those. I don't have a whole lot of skill there.
Why are you in the forest? What are you doing here with
Well,
those big boots?
I'm good at pathfinding. I can follow trails. Have a good sense of direction.
I believe that. That's why you found yourself in the middle of a clearing with a big woodworm.
Yeah, well, they don't make tracks.
He came out of the blue. Did he come out of underground? Did he surprise you?
I wasn't being very vigilant.
Hmm. And what about your pals? They all died.
The weaker ones died.
Man. And you just came all the way from your land, Embria?
I'm searching fortune, fame. Still looking for the fortune. I already have the fame. I'm kind of famous.
Fortune and fame.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand.
But maybe we can find it. I don't know if we could look for your sister in the meantime.
Yeah, I surely wish to find my sister, but that's
How old is she?
um, she's 16,
Oh,
and she was
a little
sent
too young for
away.
me.
Well, she turned to changeling. I have no idea how and why and what our changeling meant to be or to do, but my clan didn't allow that. And
Strange. Strange.
strange indeed. This is no big secret. I try not to hide too much. I try not to put too much barrier between me and the world, you see? The more you protect yourself, the more you endanger yourself.
In certain circumstances.
You gotta blend. You're gonna blend in, man.
You mean
You're sure you're gonna
in the
blend
chat?
it
You mean
when,
in the shadows? You mean?
I mean, with 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 nature, with the world. You're gonna make one with your environment.
I'm not always the most discreet person.
You shine a bit too much.
Mm. I am Ambrian, so of course I shine.
By the way, we must speak some form of basic Embryan. I mean, I'm probably not very versed into your tongue, huh? So you can show me around at the camp. Maybe introduce me to hunters there. I mean, not treasure hunters, beast hunters, monster hunters.
I may know a few of them.
Oh,
I mean, I do
you know
come from a
people?
privileged background.
How privileged.
Well, maybe not noble class, but maybe
Who are your
a
parents?
close second.
Uh-huh.
Gino, you gonna make me roll like persuasion or anything?
No, I was just waiting.
Okay.
So Lazarus and Laskar are going to the pilgrim camp.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, as evening is going to begin to fall, both of them, Laskar wants to find a trap. Lazarus is looking for other things. Do you do anything specific as night falls? Stay with the barbarians by the Thingstead?
Um. Yeah, sure. Hang around with them is probably
Okay.
the most likely thing he'd do. He'd continue associating, share drinks with everyone and things like that. Maybe offer them a slice of snake meat.
So Lascar and Lazarus go to the pilgrim camp. It's somewhat depressing, disheveled. They see a number of men and women rocking back and forth, muttering to themselves. They hear some crying or cries from certain tents, maybe unnerving. And then they see kind of regular Ambrians in the pilgrim's tent. They pass by one big Ambrian with a huge kind of rusted cauldron that he's like scooping out bowls of soup and stew. And he maybe across, he sees this crowd around this woman who's kind of passing out these pastries. And there's quite a gaggle of people around her. They see some pushing and shoving too. And maybe a few of them say, "You're going to scare her. Now, quiet, everyone." And they go through the camp. They don't see any like marketplace or smithery or anyone really selling anything out of their tents. Most of the tents are kind of torn and weather beaten, um, and uh, and the pilgrim camp is somewhat in a shambles. But there are portions of it that obviously that are slept in by more well-to-do fortune hunters. But they do see a lot of fortune hunters and a lot of down on their luck. Would they approach anyone specific?
Lazarus, what do you reckon? What am I looking at? What is this? This looks terrible. Who are those people? What are they even doing then? Here, like, I mean, most of them are just are no warrior. They're not meant to survive Davokar.
They're probably beyond our help, I believe.
Why are they here at all?
Hmm. They're refugees.
Refugees from what?
So
From where?
we don't recognize them or their garb or any of their makeup. But this is probably not a group that we will find any traps.
Oh yeah, for sure. What about these guys?
Which ones?
Like, points at the lucky possible, you know, the ones who look more able,
Well fed.
warrior like.
The ones buying food at the cauldron
Yeah.
or the woman?
Is that what you mean?
No, I'm pointing at the hunters if there are any.
Yeah, we can talk to them. You have the gift of gab,
The gift of what?
of talk.
Oh, I was hoping you could do the talk for me.
Oh, I can try, but just because I have elevated status in some places, I don't have it here.
Well, just I don't know, just pretend, just come with a big story about the woodworm. You know, we came back alive.
Yeah, are we gonna try to trap woodworms in the future? And that would
Mm,
require a big trap.
yeah, no, the traps I'm looking for are more for jackals,
Bear, bears, maybe.
demons, bears. Yeah,
Bears, like I heard the other female couldn't handle, I guess.
Yeah, big game for big food.
Yeah.
I wanna, you know,
I don't know. Is
if
bear
we
meat
had,
any good? I don't usually eat
I
things
don't
like
I don't
with
do
worms.
bear.
Yeah, I don't either.
So you approach some of the hunters and ask about traps, Lazarus?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, they look at you and says, yeah. Kudral has the best traps. Best traps
And
that are
what
made.
and what kind of size does he make? Does he willing to make larger
Well,
traps?
he makes small man-sized traps. Not that we use them for men, but you know what I mean. And any size traps.
Hmm.
He's the best trap maker on Carvosi, or probably in these southern barbarian lands.
Wow.
Can't miss him. He's a giant ogre, and he's usually in the longhouse on the Thingstead.
Wait a minute. He's an ogre?
But
Yeah,
we just come
Cruel
from the.
Jaw.
Hmm. Then I look to you like, are we going to buy from an ogre?
I mean, I don't care. I mean,
Well, I
he
guess
offered me free soup. I know there are good people over there.
if the price is right, I suppose. But if it's the guy I think it is, we have to wait till he sobers up.
Right? Yes, possibly. Well, let's wait for the morning. In the morning. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, maybe wait until noontime. That might be more appropriate. Might have a hangover.
Gutorm, you're outside the stables because Herrick is inside the stables doing your job. Every now and then, the big Wrathguard comes out and mutters. He's kind of got a two-wheeled cart where he's mucked out the stables, and he takes it over to the edge, past the stables, and you're kind of outside. He's actually fairly jovial, but he's brought you a stool, and he wheels it past you and just looks at you and kind of grunts a little bit as he's cleaning out the stables, and you're just outside. You're kind of sitting there outside the stables, and you see this woman kind of come walking across the plain of Carvosi, and she goes walking past you towards the edge. What does Gutorm do?
Can I see the lady from where I'm sitting by the
Yeah,
edge?
she kind of just walks by you. She's probably, a couple meters, walks right by you, couple feet, couple meters. Her face is kind of blanked, and her arms are down at her side, and she's just, walking purposely towards the edge of Carvosi, or walks past your stables. You're roughly where you are on the, and she walks straight towards you, and then just keeps walking. She doesn't really have any weapons. She has an empty scabbard on her side. She's otherwise fairly well dressed, not like some of the people that come out of the pilgrim camp.
Yeah, I kind of noticed something's off, right? Oh,
Yeah, I would think so. She's just got this odd look on her face.
yeah. As I see this, I kind of step up and start following her quite closely to
Okay.
see what she does.
How close you want to get?
A couple of meters.
Okay. What do you have with you?
I do have both my bow and my stuff with me. I have all
Okay.
my stuff with me. I don't have much.
Well, you have some Thaler now, and a
Yeah,
friend in
yeah,
the
I do.
Wrathguard. So you follow this woman, and you're fairly close. You're a couple people length behind her, like you said, and you just hear her humming to herself. little small song, and she just keeps going straight, and you keep following her, and she gets probably 3 meters, 10 feet from the edge of Carvosi, and she continues to walk.
So I run up to her and I kind of grab the hand gently and I ask, what are you humming on?
Yeah, you grab her hand and she like kind of pulls and then turns around and looks at you. You look into her eyes and it's just pupils. Like her pupils are blown wide. You can barely see the blue color of her eyes. Her face is completely flat and she's just humming. And
So I
she
get
like
no reaction.
starts to
Just
drag you like towards the edge of the edge of the Carvosi, and she's pretty strong, because she doesn't have her sword with her, and she's wearing leather armor. She's dragging you towards the edge and clamps down on your hand and just starts dragging you towards the edge with her.
yeah, I shout. I call down to the stables to the guard who's cleaning there. Hey, something's off with this lady.
Yeah, you yell, but you're a fair distance now away from the stables. You yell out, and Herrick is just coming out of the stables, and he looks your way, and he drops the two-wheeled cart, and he puts up his hands like, "What, Goblin? What's going on?" But
Yeah, I do the
you're a fair
same.
distance away.
Yeah, I'm losing the grip on her hand. I put up my arms like this and like, come over and kind of give a signal.
Yeah, so make a strong tech at -2 to free your hand from her grip.
Oh, -2.
Yeah, because she's much bigger than you and pretty strong. Like she's got a vice grip on your hand now. Like when you grab her hand, she just suddenly reflexively is clamped down. Yeah, you just can't break you free of her, and she starts dragging you towards the edge. Eventually, Herrick has got this. He's fair ways off at the stable, and he sees you plant your feet, perhaps, and try to drag yourself away from the woman, and he starts running towards you. She gets right up to the edge of Carvosi and leans over so that she's tipped over the edge of Carvosi, holding your hand, and you're just planted behind her. And
you have to go to the school, the district website. Great pictures of me.
And she's leaning over the edge, your hand in her thing, and she looks over you.
Is
And
this
she
my
looks at
15
you.
minutes of fame?
Are you Joe? Are you on phone? So Gutorm, she's leaning over the edge. Literally, you're like this. Her tips of her feet and her heels on her edge. She's mostly over the edge. She's holding your hand, and she looks at you, and she says, "Do you want to come?"
No way. I got like 10 talas. I want to spend this money. Can I grab my knife and try and cut her hand?
Sure, you could do that. You could make a knife attack.
Do you said I need a target for that, or do I
Oh
just?
yeah, I'll put a target. I'll put a Here we go. Try to pick a. There, pick. Let's see. Yeah, pick that one.
How do I do this in this game? So I just target the enemy, right?
Right, and then you can go to. Oh, you didn't equip your gear. Let me see. We'll equip your dagger. Yeah, it's okay. I'll put it.
Yeah.
And then you go to main, and now you should be able to just hit your dagger.
There
and
we
shoot.
have it. All right, thank you.
Right. You cut frantically at her arm, and you're just like cutting into the leather, her gauntlets, and she looks down at it, and you hear another voice, Gutorm. It's kind of all around you. It's not really from her, but you hear it distinctly. It's not really in your language, but for whatever reason, you understand what it says, and the voice just says, "Let go." And she lets go of your hand and then topples over the edge of Carvosti. What does Gutorm
Well,
do?
leans over the edge and says to himself, "That's a shame."
Right. And just as you're leaning over the edge, Gutorm, you start hearing bells. Does Gutorm knows what those bells mean?
No.
Does Varama know what those bells mean?
Probably not. I don't think so. I think the player knows. I think I know, but I don't think she would have been in the camp when those things were.
I think if she's been to the camp, she knows what those bells are.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if they would have been. She ever would have actually heard them go off while she was there, but she knows of them then.
Well, I don't think they've gone off when she's there. Would you like to explain
Okay.
what those bells are?
Well, it's an alarm bell, isn't it?
Yeah. So Carvosi
Okay.
has alarms set around the rim, roughly about 10 or 15 meters down the slope or down the sides of the walls. They were made a couple hundred years ago by a chieftain who was an artificer. And so there's these small wires that go all the way around Carvosi except for where Aloena's grove is. And whenever Carvosi is attacked by the forest, abominations or beasts, and they start coming up the sides of walls, those bells will go off. And so Varama hears those bells. And what does she do as she's sitting with Kandu?
She says the alarm.
Right.
Carvosi is under attack. Everyone, all able-bodied men and women are to help defend. Let's go see what's going on.
Can do just sort of like cracks his fingers and go, something fun.
Something fun. Lascar, do you know about the bell? I don't think Lazarus does, and only Gutorm can see it crawling up the side because it's coming up the side where he is. A blight beast has stepped over the alarm. As the woman falls over, he looks a little bit to the right, and both him and the blight beast watch the woman fall over. And then the blight beast looks up at Gutorm and continues crawling up to the edge of Carvosi and leverages its body up over the edge as Gutorm is standing on the edge looking over. What does Gutorm do?
I'm stepping back. I'm running. I'm running back to the stables.
Running back to the stable.
Shouting. There's this thing coming up here, and I turn around and I fire an arrow.
Okay, I'm gonna put you back just a little bit.
But is it that big?
Yeah, it is that big.
Fuck.
Holy shit!
It's a lot of snake meat coming up the wall.
I don't think you can eat that kind of steak.
Yeah, no, that's right.
And so
You just haven't tried hard enough.
Gutorm sees this abomination crawl up the wall, and the alarm bells go off. You hear shouts from the stronghold as the Wrath Guards come pouring out. The ones up near the gate start ringing their own bell as they hear the tinkling of the alarm go off. Lascar and Lazarus are in the pilgrim camp, and Varama and Kandu are near the Thingstead. Gutorm, you can fire. Oh, you did fire. Oh, you could fire your arrow at it.
All right.
Yeah, it just embeds itself into the blight creature, but it doesn't really seem to do anything, Gutorm, as you're running back to stables and the mass of the alarm. How far does Gutorm go?
He runs to the stables. He runs into the stables and buries himself underneath some hay.
So he hides.
Yeah.
Okay. We will make him invisible for the moment because I think you could get into the stables. I think the blight worm comes following and flowing across the plain of Carvosi. Both Lascar and Lazarus can see it, and I think even Varama and Kandu would be able to see it because it's so large. But I will ask Fate a question. Ooh. No. Okay. Lazarus and Lascar, you hear the bells go off and Carvosi's alarm system. You are probably on the edge of the pilgrim camp. You see this goblin come running back from the other side and then jumps into and rounds a corner and goes into the stables, probably even closes the doors. And you see this primal kind of blight beast come rolling across the plain. What does Lascar do? What would Eric's tell him to do?
What? Say again the second
I
question.
said, what would Eric's tell him to do?
Eric's talent.
Eric's his god. What would Eric's tell
Eric's.
him?
Yeah, sorry. You know, I would tell him to be a good hunter and use his brain to protect the forest. But Eric's the Bayagon land, the Bayaga land isn't Carvesti, so he doesn't. Askar isn't entitled to. I mean, you know, it's not. He's not responsible for the security of this part of the woods. So the first things first, he'll do a little beast lore check to get an idea what's coming. I mean, how big is it?
I
How hopeless
interject
it
and
looks. Yeah, yeah.
just hop in and say like the comment about this small faux pas is an IRL comment, and I do actually need to run away.
Oh, okay.
So if you want a big tanky shield person, can do that.
Okay, I'll run him while you go.
Yeah. And I can catch up with everything tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll see you guys.
All right.
Good night.
Have fun
Bye.
and survive.
We know what Kandu is going to do. So you're going to roll beast lore, I guess. Oh,
Yep.
So you know that it is a blight beast, heavily armored, but not nearly perhaps as armored as what you fought in the forest because of its corruption. It typically bites just like a forest worm would. It when you look at it, you do notice that it would likely wrap you up if it makes a successful damaging hit with its natural view. And if you get caught, you have to roll and try to get out, or you continue to take damage every round as you're caught up in its coils. That's the biggest danger with a blight beast of this nature, and that it's thoroughly corrupted. And so those who can fight thoroughly corrupted or mechanisms which will hurt thoroughly corrupted may work better. But the worst thing to do is to let it hit you in the first place.
It's neutral territory. It's not allowed here.
Right now, it's not allowed here. It doesn't care.
It doesn't. Yeah, politics. Come on.
It's neutral territory for intelligent beings.
Yes, I guess so. No, I'm not getting involved.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's just too big. The Wrath Guard is going to take care of that. I don't feel. I'll ask for a soup at the kitchen soup in the refugee camp and
See what happens.
just look. Yeah, see what happens. Yeah, see what
Okay.
happens.
Lazarus, you see Lascar look at the beach, look at the beast, and stay put. What does Lazarus do?
I quint my eyes towards Lazarus and I'm like, mm-mm.
Like, that's a rather large creature.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sizing him up, but realizing that I'm no match for him, so I'm kind of like holding pause, watching for anybody to jump in on combat with it.
Okay.
And Lazarus will try to claim fame by taking the final blow if other people are willing to fight it.
All right. So you're going to see what the response is from Carvosi itself.
Yeah, first the
Okay.
guards and whatever defenses they can mount.
So Gutorm is hiding in the stables, and it keeps coming across. Lascar and Lazarus are staying within the pilgrim camp. There are some screams and hollers. What does Varama do as she sees this thing come round the stronghold, and the Wrath Guards and the Templars go running towards it?
So I recognize it as some sort of a blighted creature, I would presume, right?
Uh-huh.
I want to use a mystical power. I'd like to try to use bend will on it and see if I can
Okay.
stop it in its tracks,
Nice.
make it stop.
Yeah, it says creature.
It says creature. Yeah, I've been kind of flipping through the pages looking to see if there's any clarification on that.
Abomination. Yeah,
But
a abomination. I'd let it fly. I'd have to look it up and see if nations could bend will, and so I'd let her try. Unless I find between now and next game whether bend will wouldn't work. But it says creature, so I would let her see if she could roll bend will on it.
yeah, I was trying to do the same.
Okay.
I don't think creature counts as I think the creature and abominations are two things, but
Yeah.
That's
yeah, I don't know if it's.
This depends on what its will. If it's got
Yeah.
presence of mind,
I'd let it fly today, and I'll look it up. What you do, since you're only novice, is one action. It only loses one.
Yeah, it can still
Typically.
perform one action.
Mhm.
or I can. What does it do? I can make it perform one action. So,
Right.
Bite its own tail.
how do I even roll? Oh, right, I do it over there.
Yeah, you target it and then
Oh,
roll
I got a
back.
target. It
Right.
resists.
Varama tries to invade its will, and
Too
she
strong.
right she just feels it, and the corruption she gets just leaks off the giant blight beast as the Wrath Guard and the Templars start to assail it, and she realizes that it's just impossible to control. Does she do anything else?
No, she's just gonna stand her ground there.
Okay.
I mean, I can try again next round, right? I'll just keep getting more corruption.
You could get, yeah, you roll just a one. So
Yeah.
so everyone is going to stand their ground. I think Kandu is just going to look at Varama, and he's got his weapon ready, and he sees the fighting happen, but he sees the barbarian witch kind of just stand there, and he's looking for Lascar and Lazarus, but he doesn't see them moving into combat either. Um, and so Lascar, roll a D12. So Lascar, Lazarus, Varama, and Kandu. Gutorm can't see this because he's hiding in the stables. The Wrath Guard and the Temple Guard assail the beast. You see 6 of them go down as they start to attack it with spears and swords and shields. But it thrashes all around them, throwing bodies here and there. 2 Wrath Guards, 4 Temple soldiers are thrown and or knocked to pieces. Maybe a Temple Guard is bit, lifted off the ground, and then shook until half his body comes out. And you see 6 of them go down, while the Blight Beast takes damage. Do any of you change your actions at this point?
Yes.
Okay.
Lascar is going to run over to the. If that's not too close to the. Because the scale is. Well, I don't know if that's not too close to the beast, he'll try to run over to the witch's cave.
Okay.
And hail them and ask them to intervene and to help.
Okay. You kind of go along the edge of the escarpment towards.
He'll sneak by and hoping that the beast will be busy with the Templars and Wrathguard, and will hail at the cave entrance once he get there.
Okay. I think you would roll cunning or discreet. Your choice. It's kind of the same.
By
For me
15
it
or
is.
13.
For you.
Yeah, I go with cunning.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
come on.
that's one from worst. You start moving along the edge of the escarpment. You probably get maybe like here, and you realize like the whole battle just kind of flows into you. You got bodies
No
all
way.
around you around the edge. You're right at that edge corner. The blight beast is right next to you with all these Templars and the Wrath Guard, and you get slammed and stuck up against the side. You kind of look over down towards the Holdra arches in, and you see them come out. You see 3 or 4 witches come out from the archway entrance as you're kind of pressed up by the fight against the wall. Lazarus.
Witches, dear witches, Huldra, unleash the spirits. Save Carvosti! The blight is upon us!
Lazarus, you see Lascar try to make it around as a mass of fighting men, and the giant blight beast kind of slam into the side of the escarpment. What does Lazarus do?
He starts counting the Templars or whoever's fighting. Does he count maybe a dozen?
Yeah, there's probably at least 24.
Okay, he
You're
wades
counting.
into battle.
He waits in the battle behind them.
Yes.
Okay, and so you're kind of stay behind everyone while they're doing all the work.
Well, after the first 6 drop, then I'll wade in. I see that.
If you see any more drop, you're just kind of staying on the periphery, though.
Well, no,
Or
I'm
you get
ready.
it?
Let's say next round I would
Okay,
join if
all
we're
right.
going to go by rounds or what.
Like another wave. Okay, Gutorm, you're like hiding in the stables under the hay. Horses are the horses within the stable are um, pawing and stamping and crying in their stables and struggling against their cells. What does Gutorm do as he hears this battle going outside?
Get him himself together a little bit. He's curious. He finds an opening in the stable somewhere. And
Yeah, there's
sees this.
probably a ladder that goes up to the second level where the hay
Yeah.
is and the hay door is, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. And if it's room for it, I can see he is struggling with the blight worm over there, right?
Yeah, you probably come out of that door. Maybe you open the hay doors on the second level, go out on a small ledge. You see this huge blight beast with massive wrath guards and temple guards around them, templars around them. You see some of them thrown, bitten in half, lose their life as you're on that rooftop or on the hay doors. You're probably within range of your bow, but there's just a mass of people around. What would Gutorm do now that he can see everything?
No, he opens the door and he looks out. He see all this fighting happening outside, and well, if I'm gonna be a archer, I have to do some training. and this is a big target. Couldn't be too hard to miss.
All right. Surely you could shoot a bow at a target that big.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try again.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, Lascar's pinned up against the wall. He probably sees past this mask because the stable's on the other side. Sees this small goblin kind of crawl out of the hay door on the second level because it's above him, and he's pressed up against it. Just sees him pull back an arrow. And what does that look like, Gutorm? How does the arrow fly?
No, he's kind of surprised he hit and kind of excited. He kind of sees this has some effect this time. So he's getting ready for more.
Yeah, I think Lazarus sees it too. This arrow out of nowhere. The only bowman apparently shooting at it, as everything else attacks it with pikes and spears and swords. Varama, you're watching this whole battle kind of unfold. You attempted to take over the abomination by force, and it just didn't work. would you do anything as you watch from the distance that you are?
I mean, I can't really do anything else. There's no way I'm gonna charge into it and fight in hand to hand, and I don't have a ranged weapon, so can I try again? Can I try bend will again?
Sure. I think you could try. If you
I rolled
succeed,
wrong one. Anyway, go ahead.
you did. Oh, you
Yeah.
rolled dagger. Yeah, I missed it. That's okay. I think if you succeed, then half as many Templars and Wrathguard will die.
Oh boy. I get it to stop fighting.
Yeah,
And I
you
just
get it to
stand there.
you get it to partially stop fighting. Like it slows its action down, and its aggressive action takes a pause partway through. And so roll a d6.
Doesn't hit the roll button. You can do it for me. Oh, it might be my ad blocker.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
your ad blocker.
That's what it said. It said like
Turn
that was
off your
weird.
ad blocker to roll a d6.
Yeah. Here, I'll reload it.
Laskar's pressed up against the wall, and three more, two Wrathguards and a Templar go down in the onslaught, but far less because he notices as a hunter that the blight abomination seems lethargic, and is moving much slower, like its whole actions seem stuttering, and so it really is just lashing out here and there, and almost far less coordinated than what he does. You're pressed up against the wall as this fighting kind of continues around. What does Lascar do as the holder comes out?
Okay. Lascar takes some distance, as much as he can, and will throw a throwing axe at the beast.
Okay.
While kind of like trotting backward towards the witches and imploring their help.
Oh, trying to get around the corner, like towards over here.
Yeah, kind of like that
Yeah.
way.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
He's not going into melee.
Right.
Mhm. So I don't think Ebola will will immobilize such a big thing. So he goes for the throwing axe.
Okay.
Advantage? No advantage, huh?
No, I mean you don't really get flanking when you're,
No.
when you're using a ranged weapon.
I miss.
Let's see what happens. You throw a throwing axe into melee. Okay. Lascar, you see your axe go past the blight worm and hit a Wrathguard because there's so many around him. With your miss as you throw your weapon, what does Lascar think?
Is the guy still alive?
Now you see him stumble back, and then kind of regain his feet. Leaves the axe in though, and as a hunter that pulling the axe out would probably do him in. He'd bleed all over. So as any good warrior, he just leaves the axe in himself and goes back at the blightworm.
Okay. Lascar owes this man something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Later, if he survives.
Yeah.
Lazarus, you're kind of on the fringes. You see 3 more go down, and
Did I
beasts.
see that axe strike?
That's up to you.
Okay. And I just turn to the guy. I'm like, battle's a hell of a thing, and then I attack.
Okay. So you're going to melee in melee range.
Yes.
Roll your attack.
Do I have to target?
Yep.
Do I have favor or advantage or whatever it's called?
Yeah, if you're in melee, I think it is so surrounded that it's you have advantage because it's flanked
Is that
everywhere.
what it's called? Is it called favor?
No, it's advantage.
This is normal, favor, disfavor. Oh, advantage. I'm sorry. Okay.
All right. Lazarus wades into melee combat with it. I don't expect that it's such a tumult that I don't expect that Lascar can see them. The only one who maybe can see Lazarus enter combat is Gutorm, but they haven't necessarily met. But Lazarus would look different because he's not a Templar, he's not a Wrathguard, and he's one of the few other men and women battling the Blight Beast not in their armor. Varama, you have to make a resolute test to keep it more at bay.
But
Yep.
wait, there was Lazarus just killed it.
Oh, did he get a double?
It said
did
fatally
my-
wounded. Yeah.
Did my second attack.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. Okay.
Huge.
Immediately, Lazarus goes for the fame and for the moment.
And what does that look like? You got this mass of Templar and Wrathguard. You're in and out, each of you fainting in and out from this giant creature. Lazarus waits a little bit, make sure the creature is a little bit wounded before he wades in. But what does it look like as he attacks and puts it down? What do the others see of him when he does this?
He plunges both weapons squarely into the flesh, and immediately, once he realizes it's not moving, he runs to the head and puts his foot on its head like posing.
Yeah, I think Lazarus, you do that, and like Wrathguard just kind of grabs you and pushes you off the head, gives it a swift kick and looks at it and goes, "Damn fine work, man. Damn fine work." But he doesn't like let you pose there for very long. The whole. Go ahead.
Does the killer of this beast earn money?
He looks at you and he says, "I don't expect it, but I imagine people are going to buy you some beer after this, and surely you met the High Chieftain."
I don't want any of that swell.
Right. The holder comes over, kind of goes past Lascar as he's on the edge and looks at it and then gives orders to the Wrathguard and the Templars. So a number of Wrathguard and Templars, wrap its legs and around its shoulders and then start heaving it towards the edge of Carvosi. You know, you can hear them counting 1, 2, heave, 1, 2, heave, and they just start pulling it, dragging it to the edge of Carvosi, kind of dump it near the edge of the side, and get it out of the middle of the thing. And then other Wrathguards and Templars are go run and get, you know, huge armfuls of firewood, really. So they're going to burn it on the edge over here. They're not going to tip it all the way, but they're going to set it on fire because it is an abomination. Lascar,
While this can, yeah, I think while this is going on, Lascar will give them a hand to heave the monster down the cliff, and while he grabs the attention of said Wrathguard that he managed to hit with the throwing axe. Just casually, where's the axe right now?
Yeah, you find the Wrathguard like he's kind of sitting up. He actually, one of the other Wrathguards sat down on the ground, so both their backs are together, and he's kind of supporting the other Wrathguard. Axe is like embedded in his shoulder, just right here by his clavicle, and he's breathing kind of thickly, but the axe is still in there, and the other Wrathguard is kind of supporting him. You hear them say, "Hold on, Hoska, hold on. The Holdra will be here. Hold on, Hoska."
Hey, brother. Sorry, I think I misplaced something. I take the axe. Lazarus!
What?
My brother needs help here.
Oh, so you're the one that put an axe in.
Lazarus,
Can't you do a little bit of magic? Or you do it only to women?
Well, depends on how good looking.
If you help, just roll your lay on hands.
Do I have to target anybody?
Yeah, I'll put a target out for you. That's the weird
Or I
part
could
about
just
this
target
one. Huh?
myself or something. I guess it doesn't matter, right?
Here, I just put a guard out, and that'd be the easiest way.
Or lorks.
And I say to the Wrathguard, apologies, brother, but this axe wasn't meant for you, but you stood in the way somehow.
Yeah, he just grabs your hand, and he just thumps himself, and you realize that he's a Baega. No worries, brother.
Fuck.
All in battle. Yeah. All in battle.
I like forehead to forehead, like.
I got a 3 for corruption, Gene. I didn't reset it, so that's wrong.
Yeah, okay. So you can
3
reset it,
not.
man. Yeah, you can reset it manually.
A new abomination explodes.
In the aftermath, while Lascar and Lazarus are helping the brother Baega, they burn the others are burning the blighted beast. The Holdra, one of the Holdra, Ephraimah, sees Varama across the way, and you just see her detach, and she kind of comes up to the edge, you know, nonchalantly, so she's shoulder and shoulder to you, but looking the other way, and you just hear her say softly, "Was that you, sister?" And the beast?
Yes.
Good then. And then she turns around, walks away.
It helped turn the tide of battle. Yeah.
Right. A few barbarians who, probably some of them who had bet on the goblin Gutorm, happened to see that arrow shot Gutorm, and they are standing underneath the hay loft, and they got their hands out, and they just say, "Jump, goblin, jump! We'll catch you." Fine damn shot.
Yeah, I'm jumping.
Yeah, like you just sail over the edge like this little guy boy, like thunk,
Slamming.
and then there's six of them. They say whoo, huh, and they toss you back up in the air and land again. Whoo, huh, and they toss you back
Yeah,
and put you on, and you
yeah.
get clamp your hands. Your Wrathguard, who is mucking out the stalls, comes over to you and kind of rolls his eyes, and Hair goes, "Damn, I guess I'm mucking out the stalls for longer now."
Yes, you do. I can help you.
Right. Um, and what we'll do is we will end it there for today because it's getting close. And what comes next will probably take just a little bit too long. Hopefully, you all had fun. I had fun.
Yes,
Uh, uh,
it's great.
some things worked. Some things were a little bit. I wasn't. I didn't. I felt I scrambled with a little bit in the middle section. But hopefully, you liked the beginning. I didn't. I tried to figure out a good way to get you guys together to make sense. Um, and so I just kind of created that bit beginning, and I wanted like to throw you in the mix right away to get things moving. So hopefully, the beginning was fun. But I did like the role play throughout, and a lot of times I let you go, and I just wait until it seems like um, for me to say something. Um, but I did really like the beginning. I liked how everyone kind of flowed together. I did some things that aren't obviously in the book. I made you roll for whatever hit points you had, which puts you on the spot and kind of increases a little bit of
Oh,
danger, especially when Varama
Anxiety.
has two.
yeah, that was scary.
Um, I and I had fun with the way you guys role played and trying to develop that barbarian um, attitude throughout the thing. Any comments for me or anything you think I could have
For
done a
XP.
little bit better?
Sometimes it's my attention span, or I don't know, my concentration is possibly weak at some point. But I miss the names of the when you present new characters. I sometimes find it hard to remember their names, or if I don't have the time to